NBC Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Baltimore, Maryland. Earlier this year, this city celebrated a Super Bowl championship. And today, in the shadow of homes for both the Ravens and Orioles, thousands of fans will have a bird's eye view of the stars of IndyCar, as well as a rivalry in this series that has heated up last week at a race in Sonoma, California. There, Ganassi Racing Scott Dixon was penalised for hitting a crewman on pit road with his car, and as a result lost ground in the championship race. The crewman is a member of Team Penske, whose Will Power went on to win that race, and teammate Elio Castro-Neves increased his points lead. And the teams will know each other's every move today as they occupy 4 of the first 5 spots on pit road. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we set the stage for today's 75-lap race. Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you here for the Baltimore Grand Prix. It is the 3rd time for IndyCar here in the Charm City, and we arrive at this Inner Harbour circuit at a very intriguing stage of the championship. The title is far from decided. There are just 4 races left. We've got 3 of those races on street circuits, with the finale on an oval in Fontana, California. But first we have to address the issue at hand and what everyone's been talking about this week, and that is the incident last week in Sonoma and this intense rivalry, which so many great sporting stories are based on, aren't they? You could talk about Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and John McEnroe, Bjorn Borg. There are so many examples. But here in IndyCar and in motorsport, it's about Team Ganassi and Chip Ganassi Racing and Team Penske, because these two teams have been going at it for multiple years now. However, a week ago in Sonoma, California, this rivalry was ratcheted to a whole new level. This is the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, and it's an all Ganassi front row. Dixon is your leader. He needs to do this to keep his championship hopes alive. And here come the guys who are running in the top 2.
Dixon, oh, and he hits one of Power's guys.
That was nasty.
There are 2 pit lane incidents under review.
So it could make for an interesting race to the end. Scott Dixon will be penalised.
Considering that was Elio's teammate, that's a bunch of bullshit.
This could be the defining moment in Scott Dixon's 2013 championship. Will Power is a 3-time winner at Sonoma Raceway, and it's his first in 2013. Scott Dixon, he's going to have to settle for 15th place.
That's probably the most blatant thing I've seen in a long time. If you watch most pit guys, they try to get out of the way of other people, so that was a bit of a move right there, to be honest.
You could see the difference between the Target and the Verizon signs on the wall, and if you look at that with the 9 car leaving the pit lane, he clearly crosses right into the pit box, into the 12 car space, and that's where the violation occurred. I definitely feel good with the decision that we made. We want to keep this pit lane as safe as we can.
So with just 4 races remaining in the 2013 season, this is what the championship looks like. There have been some movements down in the top 10, like Will Power coming up into 8th, courtesy of that California win. But everybody's focusing on the top 3, in particular the top 2. Now, the margin grew to 39 points. However, Scott Dixon addressed at least a solitary point yesterday, getting that bonus point for winning the pole position. So that's where everybody's looking right now. And Marty Snyder, no doubt, Dixon really is the man in the middle.
Indeed he is, Lee, and he's had a week to look at replays, a week to think about everything, Scott, so let's talk about it. Are you as angry today as you were when you left Sonoma last Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, you know, it's obviously Sonoma was a tough deal and had been a rough week for, you know, everybody at Ganassi with what had happened away from the track, and obviously, on our family side as well, too, but yeah, it was disappointing to see the race finish that way. You know, the good thing out of it that nobody was hurt. Definitely happy to see that. But, you know, I think it's just definitely put a spotlight on, you know, how people react on pit lane and the etiquette that's required out there. And you know, all we're going to try and do now is move on for that, you know, from that. You know, Team Target's done a strong job this weekend. You know, the car on the pole, and you know, all we got to try and do is try and win this championship, even with you know, a slight deficit that we thought we might have had there.
Moving forward, how will you do things differently on pit road and keeping that championship in mind? 38 points back now. How will you do things differently on the racetrack as well?
I think, we just try and do the same thing we've always done. The more and more you analyze it, or even pit stops, throughout the year and hours and hours of, tapes that we've gone through, it's hard to get everything right, and to get the scenario happen like that, it's hard to happen again. So I think IndyCar's done a good, strong job to make sure that we have, proper pit boxes here. They're bigger pit boxes, and then obviously they've added some triangles to the corners to just analyze what people are doing a little bit more via sort of looking at it under video. But I think it's going to help those decisions, but also make sure that people stay on the top of their toes.
And moving forward, also Scott Dixon trying to win that championship, and a little role reversal on pit road today. He's pitting in front of Will Power. That should be interesting. For more on this, here's Kevin Lee.
All right, thank you, Marty. Mike Hull is the managing director of Target Chip Ganassi Racing, and he has worked with Scott Dixon as his strategist for 11 years now. All right, point blank, do you think the outside rear tire changer for Team Penske was trying to make Scott go wide and slow him on exits?
Well, I hope this isn't point-counterpoint, but the way I look at it is we work hard together in the pits to help our neighbors. I don't think we received any help at Sonoma.
How do you think IndyCar should have handled penalties?
No, I don't know. I think, first of all, I'd have to say they did the right thing because of the way the rules are written. We hit equipment. I know it was attached to the guy. I'm glad he's okay. And for me, still, that's really, really important because that's why we have the pit rules. But I think IndyCar probably should have looked at it. They didn't evidently have time to look at it during the race, but they should have really done something after the race to create positive direction.
Thank you, Mike. Let's hear the Team Penske perspective now and check in with our friend Jan Beekes.
Well, Kevin, not surprisingly for Team Penske and President Tim Cindric, this week has been a lot about answering those questions that came from the Ganassi team. And, of course, Mike Hull, you couldn't hear that. They've softened their stance somewhat, but they definitely came forward and said they felt that Travis Law, your outside tire changer, deliberately delayed them. You've now looked at everything. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it's unfortunate they feel that way because I think, the facts are, we've gone back and looked at the entire race, obviously, and what a lot of people miss is the first stop of the race, the exact same scenario played out. Scott and Will came in at the same time, and at that point in time, Travis did the same thing that he did in that stop. We actually overlaid the two, and I think what you'll see is the difference is that because on the first stop, Will actually beat Scott out of the pits. Scott was much more aggressive leaving the second time. He was much closer to our car on the exit. We stopped at the same place in the pits. And really for anyone to challenge the integrity of our team, and especially Travis, I mean, that poor guy, the last thing he wanted to do is have his integrity challenged. In fact, he was in Monday morning looking at tapes to see if he did anything differently at all. So, that's certainly not true. It's unfortunate that it happened. Fortunately, nobody got hurt in the situation. But for anybody to accuse anyone in pit lane that they would intentionally get in the way of an oncoming car, it's crazy. I mean, they obviously haven't been in pit lane if they're, having those kind of accusations. So really, I guess it's unfortunate that maybe the facts weren't looked at. And I think this weekend, with the lines actually being painted, the initial reaction to what occurred there might be very different because I think it'll be much easier for people to illustrate what actually occurred.
All right, thank you, Tim. And there have been changes. He mentioned it. There's been rule changes. The pit box has been painted. But remember, here, these pit boxes are 2 feet less than Sonoma. It's going to be tight quarters. Lee?
So how do these super teams stack up against each other, Jan? Well, let's take a look. The figures tend to sway a lot farther to the Penske side because of 20 years extra tenure in the IndyCar Series. But I want to draw your attention to the middle statistic, the winning percentage. Look how close they are, 25-21. And that's what drives this intense rivalry. However, what we've just seen and what we've just been talking about wasn't the only fierce rivalry and battle last weekend in Sonoma. Will Power was in the middle of another one with Scott Dixon's teammate Dario Franchitti. Dario took exception to the way that Will treated him on the racing surface. Will tried to explain his position to Dario on the podium, and Dario didn't really want anything to do with it. So their patchy relationship continues. For Will Power, he starts today's race on the front row with a good position of going back-to-back wins. For Dario, he had an engine let go. He takes a 10 grid spot penalty and will start on the last row of the grid. So a tough day ahead for the four-time series champion. You're watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. The Baltimore, Maryland residents really embrace this race. It's terrific to see so many IndyCar fans here on this downtown circuit for the third year in a row. Pit road, as you can imagine, is busy. It will be extra busy once the race starts. There have been changes made to the pit boxes. Jan mentioned they are 2 feet shorter than what we had last week, 38 feet in length, and they have been highlighted with yellow lines, easily visible. And also race officials have added in those diagonal dotted lines to help as a reference point for entry and exit. We want to talk more about that. The existing rules coming into this weekend as far as contact with pit equipment outside of a standard pit stop procedure or contact with personnel, the rules meant that they're not limited to a black flag or exclusion from the event. No such decisions may be protested. Well, since last week there has been a new rule implemented, and that says any participant who, in the opinion of the officials, positions a car, equipment, or, this is the important one, personnel, so to create a hazard or disruption of the event to interfere with the activities of another competitor may be penalised. So there have been changes made. We welcome in Wally Dallenbach, Townsend Bell. Townsend, I want to take you back to the Indianapolis 500 in May where you were a competitor. Take us in the driver's seat. What's it like to perform these pit stops?
Well, when you're driving an IndyCar, getting out of the pits is incredibly difficult. These cars were never designed to go that slow. They were designed for minimum 50 miles an hour. Look at some of these clips. Here's Will Power at Mid-Ohio. Tight pit boxes there. You can see you can barely clear that outside rear tire even if they're making it easy for you. So it's not an easy thing to do. It's terrifying as a driver to have to steer out of your box because you're slipping the tires, and then you have to stop the tire slip and throw it the other direction to just avoid clipping the guy.
All right, Wally, well, we've had a week to digest. We've had a week to reflect on what transpired in Sonoma. Thoughts now?
Well, I think being here this week, I talked to a lot of rear tire changers, and my point was last week that I think there's got to be responsibility on both parts, not only the driver, but the tire changers. Now, these guys have a dangerous job, obviously, going over the wall. But my problem with last week was that I felt there was fault on both parts, and Dixon's the one that got the penalty. Obviously, I think the league is now addressing that and saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe there is a little bit something more to this. I don't think Penske's guy did it intentionally, but maybe he wasn't paying attention. But regardless, Dixon got the short end of the stick on that deal and got the penalty.
Well, there's been a term and a phrase that's been used a lot this week, and that is gamesmanship. So we've pulled up some archival footage to show some examples of not only Team Penske, but some other teams. Townsend, talk us through this.
Well, I was curious what happens if Penske has a teammate pitting behind them as opposed to a competitor. So here we are at Edmonton, and you can see that the right rear tire changer has a completely different protocol. And here we are at Indianapolis this year. Elio Castroneves pitting behind Will Power. You see that the air jack guy pulls the tire out of the way, and the right rear changer goes and pushes the car offline. But it wouldn't be fair just to pick on Penske here. Here's an example I found at Mid-Ohio. Watch Hunter Ray's right rear tire changer. He's going to pick up the tire after the stop, and he's going to wait, and as soon as Will Power dumps the clutch, he walks between a roaring car and a parked car, about one of the most dangerous things you can do on pit lane. So is there gamesmanship in IndyCar on the pit lane? Absolutely. Is it dangerous? You bet. Are pit crew guys acting as picks on pit lane? We see that, and IndyCar's obviously stepped in, made a rule, and hopefully we can create a safer pit environment all across the board.
And let's hear from somebody from IndyCar. It's the president of competition and operations. Derek Walker is with Robin Miller.
Derek, you took a lot of flack this week, and do you think you guys still happy with the call you made? Stand by it.
Absolutely.
You think was there anything in that made you think maybe we should have maybe not given him a drive-through, maybe a penalty, maybe a fine?
Well, I think first you've got to address the safety issue, and that's really what the penalty is about. You've got to take every care and attention to avoid that unsafe situation. So that's the no-go area. If you knock one of those guys, hit their equipment, it's a penalty. As to the severity of the penalty, I can honestly say if I had to do it again, I would say I wish I didn't interfere with a championship run. Because everybody's trying to do the best, but you can't second guess yourself. It's got to be safety or nothing else.
But because of that, you made a rule. Just talk about your thinking on that.
Well, actually, we're trying to protect them from themselves, because we've all been in the business long enough to know that monkey see, monkey do. And I don't think it's any secret. They've been doing it for years, and it's just the level of how far they go, how far they push it. So we put some clear lines for them, literally, and we've also said to them, look, don't don't make us do this, but we will. Anybody that impedes a car coming in or leaving the pits, or whether it's somebody sending a car to deliberately block, we're going to nail you. We're going to come down hard because it's all about safety.
Would there be a thought that it has to be a drive-through? Could it be just a fine if it impacts the race?
Well, actually, it's a little bit, you can't just come out with one rule that fits all. But, if it's a team member who's taken the law into his own hands, so to speak, or not being courteous, not helping a car out, or getting out of the way, if he just doesn't know where he is in this universe, it's a penalty. We're not trying to second guess whether this guy's the brightest guy in the world, he knows what he's doing, or a deviant, as I like to call it. We're saying if you interfere with a guy trying to have a race, you'll get penalized. So it might be a warning. It could be a 3 to 4 race suspension for that tire changer, or it could be a drive-through for you. Or, if it's a team game and you're actually doing something that's going to affect the championship here, don't forget, a team is a team to us. We're not going only by cars. So the reason we're coming down strong is we want this championship to be, fought out on the racetrack, not playing little games in the pits. And we know we're all trying to get there and do that, but we can't. It's safety.
Okay, Derek, back to you, Lee.
Robin, thank you. And not only thank you to Derek Walker for his frank comments and very, very insightful. Will the games continue today? Well, as far as pit positioning is concerned, it is the opposite of last week. Scott Dixon is ahead of Will Power on pit road. One man we haven't spoken about, well, he just happens to lead the championship. We'll hear from Helio Castro-Neves next. IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, continues, where we are enjoying the third consecutive year for the IZOD IndyCar Series on the streets of Baltimore for the Grand Prix of Baltimore. If the last 2 years have been any indication, we are in for quite the afternoon.
We are racing in the Baltimore Grand Prix. Here comes Power to the inside. That was awesome.
Go. Will Power wins the inaugural Baltimore Grand Prix.
Oh man, that was the toughest race I've done all year. I just gave it absolutely everything I had. Everything.
Ryan Hunter-Reay needs to time this restart perfectly. Green. He leaves him in the dust. Ryan Hunter-Reay keeps the championship alive. Ryan Hunter-Reay wins in Baltimore.
That was the drive of the year.
The only thing I was doing today was winning, or else I was ending up in the wall.
There were certain stages where that man there, Ryan Hunter-Reay, never thought he'd win last year. He started 13th. That was a bad starting spot, but he went through. And winning that rain-affected wild race gave his championship chances a massive boost. Let's show you an interesting graphic to highlight not only Ryan's championship winning year, but also Dario Franchitti from the year before, where there were massive championship swings with just 4 races to go. And that's where we are now. Only 4 races left in 2013. And in fact, in the last 2 races last year, there was like a 62-point swing. So it was incredible for Hunter-Reay to win that championship. Case in point, it's not over for Helio Castro-Neves, it's not over for Dixon or Hunter-Reay. But let's hear from the man at the top of the championship. He's with Marty.
Well, Lee, Helio Castro-Neves certainly hoping that there's no big comeback like that this year. He wants to hang on to the championship, Lee, but how much do you want to be, as a driver, aware of what guys like Scott Dixon and those guys are doing during the race? Do you want to know what's going on with their race?
Well, except if there is something wrong, but other than that, we just got to do what we're doing. We got to keep going, and certainly this track is very abusive of the equipment, especially the brakes, and so you want to make sure that, yes, you attack, but at the same time, with conservative. But if there is something wrong, certainly I would love to know what's happening with the main competitors.
Well, you and I talked about that. You described it as consistency, and that's kind of what's gotten you to this point, to leading the championship. But how do you avoid that blurring into being too conservative on the racetrack?
Well, you certainly you got to find the limit of the car. You just cannot go over the limit of the car. Sometimes, it's one of those things that this place is so bumpy that maybe a setup that works for Will, it does not work for me. It's a different style. So, and if you try to overdrive, and you might becoming a mistake. So that's the type of, you know what? That's as far as I can go, and that's as far as we have to go.
Lee, our championship leader, will start 7th this afternoon.
And Marty, the Brazilian, boasts a 38-point lead. So how many points are on offer for this man here today, Scott Dixon? There are 54 in total on a race weekend. He's already grabbed 1 bonus point for pole. If he wins the race, you get 50. There are bonus points for leading a lap and the most laps led. So Dixon needs a stellar day to try and really force the issue here with Helio Castroneves. This track gets drivers to talk in a very animated fashion. And Townsend Bell and myself will do a bit of talking when we come back with a GoPro course preview with a difference. You'll see.
I joined the National Guard because I wanted to serve my country, stay local, stay with my family. With the National Guard personnel and recruiters here, this is a perfect opportunity to get those who want to serve. I would say I received an Army Achievement Medal while I was deployed, and my leadership actually saw that, hey, you are a really good intel person. So that was also a proud award as well.
And as always, we thank all of our hometown heroes. It's time now for the GoPro course preview, and I was the lucky one this week to take a ride with Townsend Bell, this time in his Yokohama Alex Job ALMS Ferrari. However, as you're about to see, things didn't quite go to plan.
All right, coming up in the last corner here, the new chicane. It is moving here. See if we can take everybody off here. Very bumpy. We got an electronic issue.
I didn't do something with the battery box, did I?
All right, Lee, so here we are. We're exiting turn 2.
This is not what I expected with the GoPro course preview.
Now, if I can get this guy to actually do the racing line, we might make it around the hairpin. Okay, so we're going to fade out here, down to third, down to second, down to first. We're going to come all the way in and
boy, this is
all close as we can. Try to get back on the power. Whoa, that was close. Woo!
I can't believe the speed. You know who's laughing his head off right now? Wally Dellenbach.
I think it could be the entire paddock, to be frank. All right, this is turn 4. Classic 90-degree left-hander. If you notice, we're turning off of concrete and onto asphalt right now, so there's a big grip change there. We must be doing well over 37 miles an hour right here. This is actually the trickiest part of this track, where the chicane we're coming up to. It's a little blind on entry as you're braking on this crest here.
It's got that resurface part as well.
Yep. You're on asphalt. Now, this is really kind of a weird chicane. You come in really fast.
Look at the disgust and disdain on everybody's faces.
Oh, boy. I can't wait to get out of
here. And I was laughing the whole time. I will have to say that you are so smooth behind the wheel, TV. It was incredible. I've never seen a driver so smooth, and I've never seen anybody so relieved when that thing shut off. That's your face, Dip.
And for the record, I didn't kick the master switch either. There was a rare electronic gremlin, right?
Just a random wire that came off. Not your problem.
All right, let's get to the business at hand. Wally, let's start with you. Something that has been a hot spot for the past 2 years here in Baltimore is that chicane, and it will be again today, won't it?
I think the chicane is where the action's going to be. I mean, we saw a lot of things happen in practice and in qualifying, and it's really risk or reward you have to manage. You can gain a lot of time by really slamming. You'll see a couple of these guys got away with it, but all you got to do is wrong one time, and you'll see how it hits, clobbers the wall here. A lot of damage on the right rear. Miso as well. We had a lot of guys that made contact, but it's also a place where you can make up a lot of time. If a guy messes up in front of you, you can make the pass and set a guy up coming out. So I think we're going to see a ton of action in the chicane today.
And one driver in particular has been very good through that section. That's Joseph Newgarden. Townsend, we've already dealt with the controversy and the pit incident from last week in Sonoma, but it still boils down to this championship battle between Helio Castroneves and Scott Dixon. What's your take on it before the race?
There's no question. We talk about risk versus reward. Helio Castroneves really started off Sonoma conservative, and halfway through the race he realized all that's doing is getting me in trouble, and then he got very aggressive. Very interesting this morning to watch Castroneves practice breaking up the inside on cold tires on warm-up on the first few laps. I think sort of coaching himself, hey, stay aggressive at the start of this race, go try to pass some cars. We've got to fight and try to win this championship. Got to remember that Scott Dixon is angry, and the way that Scott Dixon exercises his anger is by going for it, keeping his mouth shut, and going really fast. If I'm Castroneves, I'm worried about an angry Scott Dixon.
So there we go. We've got nothing else left to do but to go racing. And boy, are we excited about that here in Baltimore. You've been watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. When we come back, we'll show you the grid, a bit more of the track, and we'll see the green. Round 16 of the IZOD IndyCar Series for 2013. It is the Baltimore Grand Prix presented on NBCSN by SRT. And there is Oriole Park at Camden Yards. What an iconic place that is. And this race, we hope for a long time, will become an iconic race in this region. There is so much to play for. The temperature is high. The humidity is high as the stakes in this championship. Boy, this is going to be hard work for the guys this afternoon. And there is the man who has been spoken about a lot over the past 7 days. Scott Dixon versus Helio Castroneves. How will it play out? Well, before we find out, we have to get the command. Let's go down trackside.
Baltimore IndyCar fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Here's Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Has been given.
Ganassi and Penske. For the last decade, this rivalry has defined IndyCar racing. And last week in Sonoma, their latest run-in left a major impact on this season's race for the IndyCar Championship.
This is the race.
Dixon will hit the race, and he hits a guy from Will Power's crew here on pit road.
Yeah, he walked into us, man. Considering that was Helio's teammate, that's a bunch of bull.
Race officials penalised Dixon, causing him to finish down in 15th, moving him from a virtual tie for the championship lead to a 39-point deficit with Team Penske's Helio Castroneves. Today in Baltimore, both teams will literally stand toe-to-toe once again on pit road. Ganassi Racing determined to get Scott Dixon back into the points race, and Team Penske defending their space with the hope of getting Helio Castroneves his first IndyCar championship. So many storylines, so many subplots, so much to play for here in Maryland for the Grand Prix of Baltimore. We're live on NBCSN and very excited to bring you this coverage. Time to check in with the boys on the ground. Here's Marty.
Lee, as the cars literally start to roll from the front row. I talked to Will Power last week before the race at Sonoma. He said our best chance to win this year the next 2 weeks. He clearly pulled that off last week and told me moments ago we can pull it off today. We're one of the cars to beat this afternoon. If he's going to win, he's got to beat all these guys, and you mentioned it, the weather. Outside right now, 92 degrees here in Baltimore. Humidity, 62%. The real field weather, 97 degrees. It's going to be a warm one for the drivers. I asked Will Power, how's it going to feel in the car? He said, absolutely miserable today. John?
And Marty, of course, the heat is going to be a player, but think about Simon Pagenaud. He said before these cars ever just rolled off, this is my favorite racetrack of the year. He made it public before he ever arrived at Baltimore. The team has given him an awesome car. He said it is a pleasure to drive. You don't hear that very often on a bumpy street circuit like Baltimore. Kevin?
Jan-Joseph Newgarden is in the Firestone Fast 6 for the first time in his IndyCar career. Best qualifying effort on a road or street course. He's finished fifth a couple of times this year, but Joseph and the team feels like they might be ready to break through. Maybe he's the fifth first-time winner. The 22-year-old is as confident he's been. They've had a lot of bad luck, hoping to get some good luck today. Robin?
Kevin? Justin Wilson's had 5 teammates this year. Anna Beatrice, Pippa Mann, Mike Conway, James Davison, and today his little brother Stefan makes his IndyCar debut. He's not really concerned with all that though. Last week he spun out at Sonoma, came all the way back to finish second. I got news for you, Lee. If this guy keeps it on the track and doesn't spin out today, he might kick their butt.
And would become, Robin, our 11th different winner this year, which would tie a record. Quite incredible. So Justin Wilson, the lanky Englishman, has come off his best result of the season and yesterday scored his best qualifying result of the season. There's the IZOD two-seater, and guess who's behind the wheel? It's a real treat. It's not Ari Leindyke. It's not Mario Andretti. It is Al Unser. And I'm not talking about Junior. That's Al Unser Sr. behind the wheel of the IZOD two-seater. That means we have got a lucky Honda fastest seat in Sports Sweepstakes winner, courtesy of going to shophonda.com. It's time to say hello to Thomas Johnston from Summit, Mississippi. Thomas, how's the ride?
I'm a little frightened right now.
Well, enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's a unique circuit, and you are a very lucky winner because this is a treat to have Al Unser behind the wheel. So make the most of it, mate, and enjoy.
Yeah, thank you.
Quite a unique opportunity there. And just a reminder, for simply logging on to shophonda.com, you can be like Thomas and win the opportunity to start a race in the IZOD IndyCar Series, sitting in that IZOD 2-seater, driven by our 3 stars, that's for sure. All right, so we've shown you the GoPro course preview, but it's time now to actually take a closer look at this circuit.
Well, this Baltimore track punishes cars and drivers like no other track on the schedule. It's a tight course, but you can pass here, mainly because it's so easy to make a mistake before the straights. If you get a good run on a guy, you can outbrake them in turns 1 and also down there in turn 3. But the hero challenge of this track comes in turn 6 and 12. That's where those chicanes and the big curves are. You've got to crash through the curving, and a lot can be gained if you get it right. But if you get it wrong, this place is going to punish you.
So there you have it. There's certain key points on this 2-mile circuit. It is not that long, but boy, it is brutal. Time to take a look at the starting grid to show you who is where, and it's quite an interesting grid. We had a very intriguing warm-up this morning with certain people we're not used to seeing up top. We're used to seeing these 2 guys. Yesterday, Scott Dixon, Wally, scored his 20th career pole.
I think T-Bay hit it up top. T-Bell said he's angry, and he is. He's got to just get as many points as he can. He's got to look at just winning races, and these guys are off to a good start.
Pagenaud, Wilson make up the second row. Let's keep it rolling and show you who is starting where. Tristan Vautier and Joseph Newgarden, 2 young guys, super talented. It's the first time that Newgarden's ever made it to the Firestone Fast 6, and he is pumped.
Not only was he quick in qualifying, but Joseph Newgarden, to me, is one of the fastest, probably the fastest car on used tires. In warm-up, he was spectacular.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, the defending champion and the man who leads the championship on the 4th row. We're going to roll through them like we always do, but Wally, I really want to ask you what you're looking for today. Is it going to be that chicane? Is it going to be perhaps brakes fading in this intense heat in this circuit that's so demanding on the brakes? What's catching your attention?
Well, obviously the chicane's going to catch a lot of people out, but I also noticed over the last couple of days, lots of guys locking up the front brakes because of the temperatures. They're not getting the right temperatures, plus there's you have to get all mechanical grip on this place. It's so rough when you're under braking. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of mistakes under braking, guys locking up tires and winding up in the tire wall.
Townsend, for you?
Lee, for me, it's all about watching Helio Castroneves on this start. I think that's going to completely dictate to everyone, including us, what is his mentality going to be for the balance of this championship? Is he going to be the hard charger and just try to win and push like what got him to here in the first place? Or is he going to lay back and try to protect the championship lead?
And before we get going, she has had a tough weekend, but we want to say happy birthday to Simona Di Silvestro. 25 today. We wish you a good race. It's time to check in with our onboard cameras. And Oriol Servia is back, taking over from Ryan Briscoe in the National Guard Panther machine. That's the National Guard onboard, and he's there for the rest of the year. James Jakes, as always, gives us the Acorn stairlifts onboard, and he had a very encouraging warm-up this morning. He could be one to watch him work his way through the field. His teammate, Graham Rahal, shows us the Sports Illustrated on board and a new livery, a new paint job for Graham, our Mid-Ohio winner, and it's the Novo Log Flex Pen on board. It's Charlie Kimball, who goes well on street circuits. We'll see what he can do. And we scoot ahead to last year's race winner. Remember that, 13th to 1st for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He provides us the Chevy onboard view. What kind of a day will it be for RHR today? He knows how to win. And, of course, our championship leader, with thanks to Verizon. And simply download the IndyCar 13 app by calling ** Indy or search the App Store or Google Play. And another Verizon view, it is Scott Dixon. So there you go. There are our onboards for today's 75-lap race, the Grand Prix of Baltimore, presented by SRT. There's a lot to play for. We're getting into contract time as far as the championship. Now, the drivers are made to go single file through the chicane, and then race officials are hoping for about the first 5 rows to pack up before you see the green flag wave. Look to the left. We've got green. Round 16 is underway in Baltimore. The long stretch down, and look at this. Look at Pagenaud on the inside, trying to get a run on Power. Power goes the outside on Dixon.
And there's the answer I was looking for from Castroneves. He had a nose upside Newgarden. He backed out, but he's clearly been aggressive on this start.
Nice and clean, Wally, through the opening 2 turns.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I can't believe there's a couple of those guys. I can't believe they didn't make contact. They were so close going through that corner.
Oh, Castroneves has got hit while his teammate Will Power took the lead, and Hunter-Reay is crawling Has he stalled that car?
But Helio Castroneves is more than likely going to have front wing damage. He had his nose in there, but you can see the front wing is dropped down on the left front side. That main plane is sagging. Something is broken. Not sure if they're going to pit. Look at Graham Rahal.
Inside Hinchcliffe with a forceful move, and he's frustrated because he felt he should have been in the Firestone Fast 6, that blue, black, and white car. Rahal is on.
Rahal and Jakes have very good cars here this weekend. So, yeah, you're going to see, I believe you'll see Graham carving through the field.
Wally, I think Castroneves is in trouble here. Now, keep in mind, not a lot of fast corners as we see a piece of bodywork flying there.
That's from
not a lot of
Filippi's car.
Not a lot of fast corners here at Baltimore, but still fast enough to where if you have a front downforce issue with a broken wing end fence, it's going to hurt you.
Tell us more, Marty.
And guys, the only thing Helio Castroneves has said on the radio, John Erickson told him, said, listen, the tire pressures are fine. Helio said, but my front wing is not. They're going to look at it when he comes by. The pit road is literally right here on the front stretch, so they're going to look at it when they come by and see if they can live with this front wing as it is, Lee.
The problem with this, Marty, as we take a look at this, it's going to be okay on new tires, but as soon as he gets some laps on these tires, it's going to be brutal as far as turning that car. I would just be shocked if they can run a full run with the damage that they have on the front.
All right, let's watch Helio. At the last second, he decides to try to tuck in on Newgarden. He just flat gets it wrong.
Yeah, there was no room to get underneath him.
Look at this move for the lead. This was Will Power. Beautiful. Down into turn 4, the hairpin, an extremely tight corner, and that was a well-executed move.
It certainly is a very tough brake zone. It's very bumpy. I raced here yesterday in the Ferrari, as you know. The brake zones for turns 1 and 3 are, it's like driving off-road.
One of our title contenders, Ryan Hunter-Reay, has plummeted. You saw him just crawling on that opening lap. He's dropped from 8th to 21st.
Castroneves on pit lane.
Figured he'd have to come. Coming to you, Marty.
Yeah, our championship leader comes in, and you can see that damage you were talking about, Wally. Obviously significant on the left side for Helio Castroneves. You see the guys going to work, trying to get him back out as quick as they can. John Erickson made the call to come in this early, and clearly they'll have to go to an alternate strategy now, taking a long time to get the wing on as well. One advantage, though, guys, he'll be in clean racetrack, but obviously we'll have to go to a completely different strategy for the rest of the day.
Marty, one of the things I just noticed, they did not change tires. They could have taken the reds off at that point, and I think that tells us that the red tire is probably the tire to have. You want to leave it on as long as you can.
So here's the order. It is Will Power, Scott Dixon, Simon Pagenaud, Justin Wilson, Joseph Newgarden. That's the top 5. And then Charlie Kimball, the orange and blue car, back in the distance. Takuma Sato, Tristan Vautier, Graham Rahal, and James Hinchcliffe, your top 10. See those overhanging trees and a lot of leaves falling? Although it's still warm weather, we're not yet entering fall. A lot of the teams have been complaining about the radiator intakes have been swallowing these leaves and causing extreme overheating temperatures.
You can take one maple leaf as a lot of surface area to block one of the radiator or oil cooler inlets, and temperatures can spike. That can cause a lot of trouble for engines. We already have had 2 Honda engine replacements to start today, Dario Franchitti and one other.
Let's talk more about Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Well, let's follow up on what's been a busy start to this race, Lee, for Ryan Hunter-Reay. When all that contact happened early on lap 1, the call went into anti-stall mode. Scott Dixon, or actually James Jakes coming down pit road right now, and what they had was anti-stall. They had to go into neutral to get it to re-engage into gear, so that's what happened with Ryan Hunter-Reay way back in the pack now.
This will be interesting to monitor these two guys, Helio Castroneves and James Jakes. Do you remember back in Brazil, Joseph Newgarden came in on lap 7, and that put him almost in contention for the win at the end of the race. So going on an alternate strategy is not always a bad thing.
It really did. Look at Servia and Marco Andretti going at it. We saw this earlier this year in Brazil, if you remember. Lots of side-by-side on the street course from these two guys. Andretti looking to tuck in, doesn't quite have it. Servia holds him off.
Marco is down in 14th place at the moment. We spoke with him earlier in the day. He said, boy, we are not in good shape. This is going to be a hard day, Wally.
Yeah, not only that, but he got a piece of that chicane in practice as well. Didn't do a ton of damage, but it did knock the wing. Got some competition going here. Yep, Tony Kanaan. And Tony's car looked really well yesterday in practice. I think he was expecting a little bit better qualifying, but carving his way up.
He's Kevin. And Oriole Oriol Servia started further back than he wanted to, but he really likes his car, the best since he's been with this team, and he feels like they found something at a test in Sebring before Mid-Ohio. Remember, that's what seemed to turn Ganassi's season around. Maybe it can work for the Panther crew as well.
We'll see, and that'll be a nice little boost for Oriol Servia to get a good result here in Baltimore. He's had 2 top 10s. Takuma Sato is in trouble in the ABC Supply AJ Foyt racing car. It was a promising weekend for the Japanese star, but it is going at a rapidly slow rate right now. We'll be back. Will Power is your race leader.
Command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Row 1 on.
Live in-car cameras.
Base car rolling.
4-in-1 Mosaic. Having your heart raced as fast as theirs.
Here we go.
Very good for green. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon. It's the Italians.
The Italians are coming! The Italians are coming!
The 5-passenger Fiat 500L. It's a big new world.
This is going to start a revolution.
Now, well-qualified lessees can lease the 2014 Fiat 500L Pop for $269 a month.
Held over through Labor Day at Joseph A. Bank. Buy 1, get 2 free. That's almost everything in the store. Buy 1, get 2 absolutely free. Plus, buy a suit or sport coat and get 3 free. That's America's finest suits and sport coats. Buy 1, get 3. Absolutely free at Joseph A. Bank.
Formula One racing on the NBC Sports Network. Home field advantage or too much pressure? Can Ferrari give their fans something to cheer about? Formula One racing, Italian Grand Prix, live next Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
San Francisco, where the world's top sailors will be pushed to their limits, and where Team USA defends the oldest prize in sport. The America's Cup Finals begin Saturday at 4 Eastern on NBC.
You're watching IndyCar on NBC SN, brought to you by SRT, Street and Racing Technology. It is a very warm day here in Baltimore. Let's bring you up to speed. Here's Marty Snyder.
Familiar sight for Will Power Lee. First 2 races here at Baltimore, he led the most laps in both of those races and got 1 win as we take you SRT through the field this afternoon here in Baltimore. Will promised me, he told me before he got in the car, we are in a championship position where we can take chances. He certainly did that going into the first corner, got the lead from Scott Dixon. Right behind him is Scott Dixon, and like his teammate, Dario Franchitti, they changed an engine this morning. The engine they pulled out for Scott Dixon, however, was mileaged out. So no penalty for Scott Dixon this morning in changing that engine. The engine they pulled out took him to all 4 wins so far this year, Jan.
And you can see that Simon Pagenaud in the HP colors is right behind Scott Dixon. Again, he loves this racetrack and said, as I said in the open, this car has been a pleasure to drive. They tried something in the warm-up that did not work. It would have worked great for qualifying, but it didn't make the tires work well. Justin Wilson also tried something in the warm-up that they thought might help save the tires and the car on long runs. He said, you know what? The car wasn't slower, it was actually faster. But boy, look at Joseph Newgarden. He's closing in, Kevin.
Joseph Newgarden working on the rear wing of Justin Wilson. Will look to the inside, not going to get him there. Great start for Newgarden. He has, as the guys in the booth have mentioned, really been attacking the chicanes this weekend. He says, that's where I've got an advantage on everyone else. I've got to make up some time. Do we see him going through that chicane there, Marty?
Kevin, how about Charlie Kimball up in 6th? He started 9th today. When I talked to him Friday, he said his car was absolutely terrible. They've made some positions. Clearly he made the car much better. He told me this will be a good test to see how far this race team has come. 21st and 18th in his 2 races here. Look at that side-by-side battle, Jan.
And that's Graham Rahal and Christian Vautier. So for Graham Rahal, keep in mind, he is on the black sidewall, we call the primary Firestone, and he has got some big times too. We also saw that Newgarden looked like he got by that position, but for these two, Tristan Vautier, don't forget that he is the teammate to Simon Pagenaud, and they've been very happy with both those team cars today. But Graham Rahal, wow, he is on a tear on those black sidewall Firestone. Now you see the bright green livery will pop into place, of course. That is James Hinchcliffe. He's had all kind of trouble this weekend, and he said, in fact, the chicane is the one corner that I just cannot seem to put together, but it felt better when I was this morning warm-up.
And Lee, Dario Franchitti started last on the field today. He has come to pit road early on. They are on their third engine for the weekend. They actually put a fresh engine in last night. That engine let go this morning in warm-up. Now they think it's a brake issue for Dario Franchitti. They're checking all 4 brakes. He said it's almost like a hose has fallen off somewhere. Something is not making sense with the braking system on Dario Franchitti's car. And also temperature's playing a big factor in that too, Lee. Much hotter today than it's been all weekend long.
Taking a look at the rear side of what we see for Takuma Sato, of course. He came in, and when he went by pit road, the engine sounded very sour. He radioed in that I'm having an engine problem. They're not giving it up. They're trying to see if maybe it's something they could cure with electronically changing components. But at the moment, Sato sits still.
Dramas for James Jakes. So we have an attrition rate that is growing and rising rapidly. What a shame, because his car looked pretty racy this morning. We know that his teammate Graham Rahal is doing very, very well and making good progress. Meanwhile, here's your race leader. He's got a 1.5 second lead, Will Power, over Scott Dixon. We saw a quick shot of Tony Kanaan before. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that he has now broken the open wheel IndyCar consecutive race record starts. Today is 212. Well done, TK. We wish him a good result. He's got a long afternoon of work to go. The battle rages here between Charlie Kimball and Justin Wilson. Need to say that Joseph Newgarden got by. You may have noticed that. And he did it with a pretty slick move as well. So Newgarden, who has had 5 top 10s this year, 2 of them top 5s, he could be on the podium for the first time ever today.
I think Newgarden's got he's probably got one of the best cars here this weekend. And when he got by Wilson, he really put a lot of ground on him. So yeah, I think he's on his way towards the back of Pagenaud's car.
But he had to use up a lot of his tire to do so. It is not easy to pass here, and he was charging hard. I'm watching Joseph's lap times. Leaders are at 20.4, Newgarden at 21.4, so he's going to have to step it up to close that gap. Look at Kimball to the inside of Wilson.
Turn 4, that is the hot spot, the SRT hairpin. It's a very popular overtaking point. Justin Wilson looks like he's a sitting duck, doesn't he? He's looked in the rearview mirror, and he sees Graham Rahal as the next one in the order, who is moving fast and filling his mirrors.
Well, I think you're talking about Newgarden using up his stuff. I think, and here comes that pass. I think Wilson may have used a little bit up as well, trying to keep Newgarden behind him.
Good point, and Graham did very well to gather that up.
He made the pass, but he went inside that big curb, and I don't know if that's going to be considered cutting the course. That could be under review.
Here comes the GoDaddy machine of James Hinchcliffe, putting pressure on Tristan Vautier. These are all top 10 positions, and there's Tony Kanaan in the hydroxy-cut machine in the top 10. Oriol Servia is immediately behind him. So the order is Power, Dixon, Pagenaud, Newgarden, and Kimball. A very different looking top 5, isn't it? And for Will Power, this is the 5th time in the last 6 races that he has led a road course. So he's looking strong. Could it be back-to-back wins for Will Power? Long way to go.
All morning. That's why I eat Belvita at breakfast. It's made with delicious ingredients, then carefully baked to release steady energy that lasts. You're golfing now, buddy. I got it. Belvita, steady energy all morning long.
And now introducing new Belvita soft-baked breakfast biscuits. Made with delicious ingredients and whole grains, they'll give you 20% of your daily fiber and a new way to get nutritious morning energy. Available in mixed berry and oats and chocolate.
A woman and her truck. A woman, her truck, and a 1,200-pound passenger. And 2 bodies with 1 mind. And a ribbon that goes on her wall, not in her hair. The all-new Chevy Silverado. with the best available towing in its class. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Listen carefully. Your wife has been taken.
Is she alive?
As long as you follow my instructions. Drive. You have an ability few others have. There's a package at the bank. Get it out of the city or your wife is dead.
I'm coming after you. You hear me?
The clock is ticking.
Here we go!
Getaway, rated PG-13, now playing.
Introducing a car company that's never made a single car. Legendary durability. Impressive mileage. Firestone tires. So unstrap the saddle. These old stallions are ready to run. Again. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
NBCSN is your home of open wheel racing, and next weekend the Formula One World Championship roars back into life with one of the classics, the Italian Grand Prix from Monza. Don't miss it. It's next Sunday here on NBCSN. So race leader Will Power dashing off into the distance. There's Scott Dixon. The margin is 1.3 seconds. The car on the move, the driver on the move is Graham Rahal. Car 15 right there. He has done a terrific job weaving his way through, grabbing positions. He's up as high as 6th at the moment, ahead of Charlie Kimball. Joseph Newgarden, Simon Pagenaud, Dixon and Power up ahead, and we've got our first full course yellow.
And those are on the blacks as well, aren't they? With Rahal's car.
And here's the yellow is for Ed Carpenter. Now that's the corner just before pit in, and it's unclear if there was any contact. I'm looking at the right front wing end fence. Looks like something might be hanging down. I'm not sure what happened there.
This will tell us a little more. Helio Castro Neves behind.
Yeah, I think something probably is hanging down there. That's the end fence. Just breaks a little too deep, locks him up, can't make the corner.
So the Fuzzy Chevrolet just spears into the tyre barrier. Incidentally, Fuzzy Zeller is here this weekend. This is Luca Filippi and the Barracuda Racing Brian Herder Autosport car.
I probably have fire. Yeah.
Yes, you do, Luca.
That's another Honda. We've seen Jakes. We've seen Sato, and now Filippi, and he does have fire. And this is a critical time to get out because things can light up fast once that flame takes out.
18 car.
As Bourdais Dario Franchitti finally gets back out. He's 5 laps down after that prolonged period in his pit box. So frantic action down on pit lane. There goes Helio Castro Neves after pitting for the second time. Remember, he needed a new front wing earlier in this race. It's a shame for Luca Filippi, who we'll see at the doubleheader at Houston at the next 2 races. But he was telling us this morning he's feeling a lot more comfortable in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Marty?
Well, the theory here for John Erickson, pitting Helio Castro Neves, our championship leader, who you ride on board with right now, is that you kind of have to do the opposite of what the leaders do. So they pit here, they put the primary sticker tires on for Helio Castro Neves. In theory, you'll see the leaders pit in about 10, 12 laps or so, and then they'll stay out. In theory, they'll have an advantage at that point and be the leader of the race, is what Erickson is hoping for anyway, guys.
Thanks for that, Marty. So the list of retirements is growing. Luca Filippi, Takuma Sato, James Jakes, and thankfully we've just seen the 4-time champion Dario Franchitti get back off pit road and heading out. Now, before those stops, things of course have cycled now. Before those stops, Sebastian Bourdais was the biggest mover in the field. He had a crash in qualifying. He could not continue. He started from 22nd position. The only 2 drivers behind him were those who had penalties, Jakes and Franchitti, and he just marched his way through the field to the tune of making up 9-10 positions. So Bourdais is one to watch today.
Yeah, that was impressive. I was just watching Filippi get back in his car. I'm not sure if that's for the tow back or if he actually thinks he can restart it. I can't imagine, Wally, that he would get going again.
I think they like, I watched it a little bit yesterday, they like the driver to be in so they can tow it back.
Yeah. So we'll take a break while we're under caution. When we come back, hopefully the track will be clear. We'll go racing.
I thought a plane crashed and hit me or something. I couldn't expect that it would be Sato. He just unplugged his brain entirely.
Yeah, he's shaking his fist as he always does. Always somebody else's fault, but Will.
What the f***, Dario? Going into the wall.
He
He was jumping to start so bad.
He said play fair, but they didn't play fair at Texas.
It was just madness. He did exactly the same thing to me.
Oh, we've seen some fun tippers in the 2013 IZOD IndyCar season this year so far, including last week at Sonoma, where it fired up between the Ganassi boys and Team Penske. Now, a little breaking news this morning. Derek Walker called a private meeting with the 4 drivers of the camp: Will Power, Elio Castroneves, Scott Dixon, and Dario Franchitti. And I talked to both Dario and Will Power about the meeting, guys, and they basically said the tone of the meeting was very cordial, but it was very precise. Play nice on the racetrack. You see our championship leader, Elio Castroneves, certainly affected by what happened last week. And play nice on pit road. Will Power told me, he said, I really liked it. I liked it because I know the rules now, and I have no question that IndyCar will come down very sternly if anyone affects the championship on the track or on pit road. So nice meeting among the Ganassi and Penske boys this morning, guys.
Yeah, we had a few meetings this week, too, with some of these guys. So, you know, and it is. I mean, listen, you play and work together all the time, and it really is like another family. But, I mean, I really want to commend IndyCar for taking a look at this whole situation from last week and say, you know what, maybe we should take a look at this and address it. Maybe there is a little bit more to it. And because, you know, Townsend, it's hard to explain to people sometimes the games that are played. You and I have been in the seats, so we have seen it firsthand. But there's a lot of people that go, no, that doesn't happen. It does happen in this sport. There's high stakes.
Absolutely, there's high stakes, and there's also high stakes in terms of safety. And I don't think there's any better validation than to have people that you and I have both talked to privately all week that are on all of these teams that we're discussing, who are admitting to us, you know, what takes place, that games are being played. But it's a game, and it's a serious game, and it's going to be played hard just like any other big-time sport.
Really special time for car number 19, the Boy Scouts of America. Dale coin car of Justin Wilson, coming off his best result of the season last weekend with runner-up in Sonoma. He's had a revolving door of teammates this year, but a really special one today.
It's interesting having my younger brother here, and a little strange in some ways. We've 11 years between us, so we've never really competed and done anything together. So to be racing in the same series is going to be strange.
When I was a kid, I thought he was a god, you know. So I grew up going to his races. I've always had so much respect and idolized him a lot. You know, he's helped me out so much over my career, giving me tips, and now it's paid off.
You know, it's just that strange thing. I want to help him succeed, but at the same time, I want to beat him. You know, I guess once the helmet comes on, I'm going to be thinking about myself. But when the helmet's off, I'm going to be thinking as a brother and want to help him succeed.
And young Stefan, who is 11 years younger than Justin, is a race winner, a multi-time race winner in the Firestone Indy Lights Series. They're kind of at opposite ends of their career in the spectrum, but it's terrific to have the Wilson brothers in the same race and the same team in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Wally, you raced against your brother, right, Paul?
My brother, my wife, my kids. We're a very competitive family, and none of us like to lose. I mean, it's really not a fun thing.
And right now, Justin's not really thinking about his little brother being in his team and in this race right now. He's focused on perhaps trying to win this one to become the 11th different winner this year. Quick break, then more from Baltimore.
We know some people just can't leave things be. They wonder how much faster this thing could go. What if it weighed less or turned sharper? They know that things can always be better. We count ourselves among those people. Introducing the quicker, sleeker, smarter, best Civic Si yet, made possible by Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Years, Irwin has been making professional tools for professional tradesmen. Today, Irwin Tools salutes those who build this nation with their bare hands. Join Irwin in celebrating National Tradesman Day to say thanks for a job well done.
150 years, we have always believed in quality over quantity. Please drink responsibly. Give me your street circuits, your ovals. Give me your road courses and your cathedrals of speed. Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
Only on the NBC Sports Network.
Caution number 1 here in Baltimore, and let's try and see if we can diagnose what happened to Dario Franchitti. We'll talk to Chip Ganassi. And what was the problem with the brakes at the end of the day, Chip?
Well, I think, Marty, we got a master cylinder issue, with the 10 car. So we think we've had some dirt in there. We think we pushed it through maybe. We'll see if that fixed it. We're really not sure right now. We're kind of waiting for it to go green.
I know there was some concern about small brake ducts, and I know Dixon has the same ones. Concern you at all, or not really?
Yeah, no, it's not a brake duct issue. It's something else.
Not a heat issue, and no worries right now for Scott Dixon, Kevin.
Well, it seems appropriate that the Iron Man of IndyCar gets start number 212, the consecutive record here in the shadow of where Cal Ripken played much of his career. Keep an eye on that front wing there. I think you can see it dangling a little bit. Kanaan at the start of the race made some contact. Yeah, definitely. There's damage there, and it's impacting the car. Scale of 1 to 5, how bad is it? He said a 2.5. They thought several times about coming in, but for now, they're going to stay out, and they might not even change it. They're thinking, we might be able to improve the car for you by just normal adjustments and keep this wing on to maintain that track position that you've made up. He started 14th, Kanaan up to 9th.
Townsend, you played a little bit of baseball in your time, didn't you?
A little bit. Up until 7th grade.
No. But they're still out there sweeping this racetrack, and I'm just wondering if I don't duck into the pits when they're coming to the green and roll the dice, especially if I'm sitting back there, 14th, 15th, 16th.
Well, we've seen Vizo do it, and now here is Stephen Wilson, I think, just ducking on pit lane for exactly that reason.
Castroneva should do it.
I was going to say, Wally, you worked with John Erickson for a long time. You guys think a lot alike. That's exactly what it is. When you were saying that, Erickson called Elio Castroneva's pit road just to top off here. Nice strategy for the championship leader, trying to play this out and see if they can finally get some track position.
Yeah, this is kind of the hand that they were dealt, but it's working in their favor with these cautions going the way they're going right now, because these guys are going to have to duck in the pits in another 7 or 8 laps anyway if it goes green. So I'd be doing it now.
Slowly working our way back to green. Remember, we are in a town that are celebrating the Super Bowl champions. And Thursday night, Joe Flacco and the defending Super Bowl champion Ravens face Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Then Sunday night is football night as the Giants head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. NFL kickoff weekend begins Thursday on NBC. Here is a man who has been on a mighty move today, Joseph Newgarden. Let's check in with him. What's he been saying on the radio?
The car is not shifting anymore. Now it's not shifting. Oh, there it goes. Now it's starting again. There was just a brief moment there where they wouldn't accept any upshift. Yeah, 10-4. Things are probably just getting a little warm there on the yellow. Get a drink here and rest your hands a little bit too.
I've had that happen before. It's the worst feeling in the world, especially when you're having a great day with an awesome car and a driver who's feeling on top of his game. You're running around under caution, all of a sudden it won't shift. I had that happen on the warm-up lap for the Indy 500, and at the last second, the battery voltage picked up enough.
There is Sarah Fisher of Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. Big year. They moved to a new premises, a new wonderful facility in Indianapolis, and they are looking for that breakthrough day with their young star Joseph Newgarden. It could be today.
And you can see the stress on Sarah's face. You wonder, why would she be so stressed? It's because their car is so good. She told me this morning, anytime we have a really strong car, I feel so nervous that something's going to go wrong. And having that little transmission issue probably just added to that.
They want it and need it so bad. And Joseph needs a good run, but I'm telling you, he's got the car this weekend. If he puts that thing in the right place, he can win this race today.
Marco Andretti also took the opportunity to top off. Now, while they're getting ready for the restart, lots of calls up and down pit road about watch your brakes. There's been a lot of brake wear. They're very concerned on a double foul restart. Some people may not be able to stop as expected, so watch for that.
I spoke to Ben Bretzman, who is the engineer of the third-place car, Simon Pagenaud, this morning. He said, Wally, this place is brutal. It is the worst we go to for brakes.
Yeah, you could see it under braking because the cars are never on the racetrack when they're in braking. You'll see the front suspension bounce like crazy, and they're trying to get these cars slowed down.
Look at Simon Pagenaud's jump.
Oh, he's going to try to slide it up the inside.
He's thinking about going for it on the inside, that blue car. Simon Pagenaud. Dixon comes back, tries to go around the outside. It's the long way, gets tail, he gets sideways, and Pagenaud grabs a spot on the restart. Now Ray Hall and Newgarden are going at it. That was cool.
And Newgarden looking up the inside. A little further back, you've got Hinchcliffe and Kanaan side by side.
Now they tippy-toe through this hairpin. It's where Castroneves was tagged, and he also made contact with Newgarden on the opening lap. All clear.
Oriol Servia charging up the inside.
What's happened to Ray Hall?
Hinchcliffe, and I don't know. Ray Hall's fallen back a little bit. There he's in, right behind Kanaan.
Tucked in behind Tony Kanaan. But it was Simon Pagenaud in the other light blue car. Now Ray Hall on the inside of the Indy 500 champion. And gets it done.
Graham Rahal is proving that you can pass in a spot none of us thought possible. Bobby Rahal came on the radio on his previous pass and said you might not want to try that too often, and he clearly is not listening to Dad.
And well, I'll tell you what, Pagenaud smells blood right now. He's right on the back of Power's car. He's looking. He's
the lead Honda in a pack of Hondas. There's a Sol Chevrolet out in front with Will Power, and then the next 5 cars are all Hondas.
And this will be a neat battle to watch because a lot's been made of the peak power that the Chevrolet makes, which Will Power drives, and Simon Pagenaud there in a Honda. A lot's been made of their mid-range drivability, their torque off the corners.
And Wally, to tie back in with one of our storylines at the head of the show, everybody so far so good through the chicane. We haven't seen any carnage.
Still early. Still early.
Inside, who is this? Justin Wilson with a great move on Hinchcliffe. Good braking move down there into turn 1.
And this is the problem. It's kind of like in NASCAR at Bristol, where a guy ducks in inside you and you're out in the marbles through that corner, and then you're just getting freight trained corner after corner trying to get your tires cleaned up. And right now, Hinchcliffe is clearly suffering.
Yeah, he's definitely falling back. And like you said, and if you get out on those marbles for a little bit, it takes a while to get the tires back working again. So he's lost a lot of spots there.
And here comes Marco Andretti up the back.
Kind of liked his outlook earlier today. He said, I know I'm in for a tough day. We're just got to be patient, see what happens ahead of us. We'll just try and click him off one at a time. His teammate is right ahead of him.
He's right. Well, teammate's right ahead of him, and so close that Marco just gave him a little nudge there in the last corner.
Top 9 cars in the race are yet to pit.
Hinchcliffe had a big push there.
He is hanging on for dear life. There goes Marco to the inside. Do they see each other? Whoa, that's close quarters. That's exactly what I was talking about. Hinch is now going to have marbles on the left side tires, turning in for this very fast right-hander. He's going to lose a big gap.
For those of you just turning on, asking where is championship leader Helio Castroneves, he is in 18th position. However, he has pitted 3 times in this race. He had front wing damage early on, which forced him to be the first car to pit, and then he's come in for 2 subsequent stops to add a little bit of fuel.
And this is, he has to be patient now because he knows all these guys in front of him are going to disappear eventually.
Yes.
So he doesn't really have to push the issue right now.
And you can hear him saving fuel. If we just listen here before he hits the brakes, he's going to coast. Well, not there. He braked pretty hard and deep. That was full throttle to full brake.
Let's have a look at some telemetry brought to you by Firestone. Marty?
And John Erickson coaching Helio Castroneves on the radio. Number 1, to stay calm. As you mentioned, Lee, on a completely different pit cycle. But if you look at those tires on Helio Castroneves' car, he has on those primary tires. They are much slower than those secondary tires and the red, softer compound tires from Firestone. So he's getting that out of the way now, while everybody else does have on those red, softer tires. So later in the race, that could play huge for Helio on the next stint. When he's able to put those reds on, everybody else will have the primaries on.
Battle going on here between 2 young chargers. Joseph Newgarden and Charlie Kimball. Newgarden's the car ahead. He runs wide, really wide, and hits the wall. Joseph Newgarden's great chance today may have just taken a major downturn.
I don't know if he hit. I think he might have brushed. He might have brushed, but I don't know that he had a big hit.
Just a few more laps.
I think he's okay.
He's lost 3 positions and now maybe even make it 4. Serbia was lining him up.
I think what happened is that Newgarden got wide in turn 10, that fast right-hander, and he got junk on his tires. He got into that last turn 12 and just went wide, almost got in the fence. Look at Serbia.
Aggressive up the inside. Contact further back to Tristan Vautier and Ryan Hunter-Reay getting into it.
And that's when a driver knows how to take advantage of a situation like that. If you see a guy that's been in the marbles and you're chasing him, you know you've got to make the move and put it there before his tires get cleaned up.
Newgarden watching his mirrors hard. He knows that he's in trouble here. He's lost that pace that we thought was so strong earlier. He's got Simona Di Silvestro all over him.
It's Ryan Hunter-Reay, the defending race winner and series champion. He dropped all the way to 22nd on the opening lap, and it's been a grind to come back from there. But if anybody can come back, this guy is it.
I wonder if Newgarden's having brake issues because he's braking awfully early.
This line of traffic. Simona Di Silvestro, her 25th birthday today. She is hounding Newgarden there. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tristan Vautier, Justin Wilson, Sebastian Bourdais. They're all lining up for a shot.
Now this is what's going to make it very difficult for Simona or Hunter-Reay to get by Newgarden. He's so fast through that last chicane that the gap needed to pass just disappears for that key braking zone that comes up next.
Hinchcliffe on the inside here, and Marco Andretti's teammate. Oh, that was close. That was very close. So Hinch trying to return the favor on Marco from a couple of laps ago. Meanwhile, up front, Will Power has a 2.8-second lead over Simon Pagenaud, Scott Dixon, then Charlie Kimball and Graham Rahal in the top 5.
Hinchcliffe wants that spot back for Marco pretty bad. A little bit of contact there between him and his teammate.
He's got Sebastian Saavedra lining up for a shot at him. You're talking about here trying to stay in the top 15.
James Hinchcliffe really wants a strong result. Started off the season so well. But what happens here? While he's not under contract for next year, he needs to push. But if he takes out his teammate and the son of his team owner,
that's not too good.
Not a great way to get a job either.
But he's struggling right now too, Townsend. I mean, you can just tell. It looks like the car's understeering bad, especially in that first corner. But it just doesn't really seem like it's underneath him.
Top 10 cars in this race have yet to pit. And that first pit stop is looming large.
Now here's Newgarden. Simona has gotten by, and Hunter-Reay has to stay super close here through the chicane, try to get a solid exit. But again, Newgarden's so quick, he gaps everybody each lap. And look at a piece of bodywork. I wonder, was that Cannon's bodywork?
That could have been Cannon's wing finally
breaking up. Vautier. No, it's Vautier. Right front wing end fence on Tristan Vautier, the 55 car.
And he got into it on the opening lap of the restart. There was a concertina effect, and he's got rear wing damage as well.
I wonder if the front wing came off and hit the wicker as it was falling back. The hard part about that chicane, guys, is when you get close to another car to try to set up a pass, you can't see the curving.
Yeah.
Hunter-Reay easily disposed of Newgarden there, and so too is Justin Wilson. He goes for 19.
No traction. I have no traction.
That's Joseph Newgarden talking.
Okay.
So maybe he did do a little bit of damage on the left rear of that thing, Townsend, when he hit the wall. I mean, it was hard to see how hard he hit. They peeled off. Pit lane.
So not a brake issue. He's complaining of rear tire grip.
Joseph Newgarden makes his first stop. He'll get off the sticker reds and go to the primary blacks. He's still trying to hang in at this point. It's been his best opportunity for a good finish, and they want to be aggressive here today. Good clean stop there out. Remember in Brazil when he was a little bit conservative, they said we're going for a podium, but now he's got some track position to make up, but he might have clear track space.
Well, let's show you what happened a little earlier with Joseph Newgarden. This is Charlie Kimball on the inside. Watch the car ahead.
See how wide Newgarden got there off in the gray. I think he got his tires dirty, and boy, if he didn't hit, he got awfully close.
This will show us a little more.
I think he got away with it. I don't think he made contact. We'll take a look. This will be a good shot right here.
So the battle for second place, because our race leader has skipped away. Will Power all of a sudden has turned a 2.8-second lead into a 5-second lead. So we join the fight here with Scott Dixon, Simon Pagenaud for second. Both these guys have won races this year. Pagenaud, his first ever Eyes-On IndyCar Series race win in Detroit on the streets there of Belle Isle. And Scott Dixon, of course, a 3-time winner. He won those 3 races consecutively. So it's a good scrap amongst the top 3. Quick break, but you will see it.
I like to golf all morning. That's why I eat Belvita at breakfast. It's made with delicious ingredients, then carefully baked to release steady energy that lasts. You're golfing now, buddy. I got it. Belvita, steady energy all morning long.
And now introducing new Belvita soft-baked breakfast biscuits. Made with delicious ingredients and whole grains, they'll give you 20% of your daily fiber and a new way to get nutritious morning energy. Available in mixed berry and oats and chocolate.
It's the Italians.
The Italians are coming! The Italians are coming!
The 5-passenger Fiat 500L. It's a big new world.
This is going to start a revolution.
Now, well-qualified lessees can lease the 2014 Fiat 500L Pop for $269 a month.
Inside yours. Keep pushing here, bud. That's turn 4, spotter. Turn 4's clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. We'll push the fast left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Introducing a car company that's never made a single car. We took the power of a 9-year-old V8 and gave it the impressive handling of Firestone's Destination tire. Now, moms agree. Every milk run feels like a victory lap. So whatever you drive a Firestone.
Grand Prix of Baltimore presented by SRT continues live here on NBCSN, and you watch a scrap between Tony Kanaan, the Indy 500 winner this year, and Oriol Serbia in the Panther Racing Machine, and they are fighting over 6th place at the moment. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and that is Pagenaud, Dixon, Kimball, and Rahal at the moment. We understand Charlie Kimball's coming in shortly, but while we're away, Justin Wilson, you may have seen, had trouble.
And that's that front lockup we've talked about, Wally. Yeah, those tires lock, you're not going to make the corner.
It's a real bumpy section of the racetrack there, so you're going in, you're trying to get the car slowed down as much as possible. Very rough.
It's interesting to compare, because one of the things I saw with Newgarden is that he runs a lot of rear bias. He kind of likes to go-kart the thing in, but then you're burning up those rear tires a lot more aggressively, right. and it's obviously penalized him a bit on those reds. We'll see how he does on the blacks.
I'll tell you, I'm really impressed with their Rahal. I mean, if he's on those black tires and he's hanging with these guys as long as he has right now, he's going to be a rocket when they put the reds on.
Well, we saw how quick he was in qualifying yesterday, right, Wally? Unfortunately, he suffered a crash and it bounced him out of what was potentially a Firestone Fast 6 berth. So he was frustrated by that, and then he got clouded. He got hit from Tristan Vautier. And Vautier has subsequently been fined and placed on probation as a result of that. It was a nasty incident, but it eventually took the Rahal Letterman Lanigan driver out of a Firestone Fast 6 spot. So now he's making up for it in the race. He's well placed. Top 9 are yet to stop in this race.
Okay, pit. You're going to have an open in, open out, the open in, open out.
That's the voice of Rob Edwards talking to Simon Pagenaud. Rob Edwards, the team manager for Schmidt-Hamilton, I think that one is.
Yes, correct. And there goes Pagenaud. Last year's Sunoco Rookie of the Year, this year's Detroit race winner, and he's been running in the top 3 all race long.
And Lee, what they're going to do is they're going to go with the sticker black set for Simon Pagenaud. So that's the best blacks that they have available. And in the meantime, we go up to Marty with Hunter Ray.
What a nice recovery on Ryan Hunter Ray, back as far as 22nd. As I told you a moment ago, they're going to put on scuffed primary tires for Ryan Hunter Ray. He said the car actually came to life at the end of that run. Very happy with the chassis, trying to make up some track position.
Kanan and Simona, the two KV Racing Technology cars, pit at the same time and exit at the same time. So Rahal done. Good work there. Pagenaud done. This fight goes on. Second place, Scott Dixon. Third place, his teammate Charlie Kimball, the Mid-Ohio race winner. And Graham Rahal looking for that point in the season where it's all going to turn around. He had a little bit of sugar at Long Beach, didn't he? That was a sweet result. And this is a fight further back in the pack between Saavedra and Marco Andretti.
Sure didn't look like he was going to make the corner with the front tires locked up. But
he did.
He was just going slow enough to where he could release the brakes and make the corner. It's such a critical decision point, as you know. If you're not going to make it, you got to bail out and take the overrun like Justin Wilson did earlier. And that point of decision is, man, it gets your heart stopping every time.
Yeah, when he got off that brake, it's just the tires rotated enough to where he could make the corners. But then that was really close.
This will be a good fight. Charlie Kimball versus Graham Rahal. Watch this.
And here's a big surprise. He is not going with the red sidewalls. He's going with another set of black. So big change here for Rahal. He likes those. Marty?
Friday, Charlie Kimball told me his car was, quote, terrible today. He described it on the radio as outstanding. You see the race off pit road. James Hinchcliffe still on pit road. Kimball wanted no changes to his car. Went from 9th to 3rd, as you see James Hinchcliffe leave pit road as well.
I believe Rahal got that spot with Kimball on those pits. So good job for those guys.
Fired out there, got it in the fast lane straight away, and he is gone. The 24-year-old second generation American driver is looking good. This is the Graham Rahal we've been waiting to see for the majority of the season. I asked Bobby a couple of weeks ago, here's Dario Franchitti in trouble again, and it's been a frustrating day for Dario. He's now 7 laps down, and this may be day done for Dario. Fight goes on here. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Marco Andretti and Helio Castroneves, who has not had the day that he was hoping for, the championship leader.
No, you know, it's just one of those things. He tried to charge at the beginning, had the contact. Now he's working his way back up through the field. At this point, he's just got to collect as many points as he can.
Straight on the board, right in your port, straight in.
And you see Scott Dixon on board coming to his pit stall. Mike Cole said, I need you to run Will Power's pace. Dixon said, I just can't, Mike, right now. You see the primary sticker tires going on. You'll see where he cycles out with Simon Pagenaud. Scott Dixon leaves 8.2 on the stop. Will Power will pit next lap.
Rahal coming.
Rahal coming is the communication. So where is Pagenaud in the mix? We'll wait and see, but Scott Dixon gets that first stop out of the way. There is Simon Pagenaud, so behind Charlie Kimball, who's behind Graham Rahal. So it was either good work from those two other guys, or it was not such a great stop for the Schmidt-Hamilton HP team. Did Simon get caught in traffic on the way out? What happened? But nonetheless, what the result is he's lost 2 positions. Make that 3 positions, because he was ahead of Scott Dixon when he pitted.
Probably the most difficult circuit on the schedule to drive out of the pits on cold tires, Wally. With the pressures down, as bumpy as it is in the brake zone, you can make a huge mistake.
Hit our marks, guys, nice and easy here. Have a solid stop. Hit your marks here.
You hear Tim Cindric on the radio counting in Will Power. He did everything you want to do at the end of that run. Oh, they run over the air hose. That'll cost them some time here on pit road, and they drop the air hose for the right front as well, so that'll cost him some time. He's very close to the wall. We'll see how they can get these tires changed for Will Power. He was able to go 1 lap further than Scott Dixon. He was also able to gap everybody else. We'll see how much that cost him. 15.7 on that stop for Will Power, about double the amount of time they normally would have.
Here comes Dixon now. So at car to car, before they pitted earlier, Power had as much as a 7-second lead. So we'll see what the margin is this time out, and there is traffic in between. And on that pit stop cycle, Sebastian Bourdais, who we mentioned earlier, who had that crash in qualifying, was forced all the way back, and he's been working his way through the field. He's been one of the biggest movers in the field. Here he is, the 4-time open wheel champ, is leading the race on that pit stop rotation. Had a good race going here last year and was forced to retire. And boy, he has been one of the guys, Wally, who has, I want to say enjoyed, he's endured some wild rides over the chicane.
Yeah, and these guys seem like they've been knocking on the door this year. They've been up there and they've been running really competitive, but they just haven't been able to put the string of finishes together. Here you see the Penske guys. Power just went a little bit too long. It was on top of that air hose, and that cost them, 4 or 5 seconds.
Interesting. They've made no adjustment, on the outside rear. That's the way they're going to do it.
The other problem, guys, you can see how close the right front was to the wall. They didn't have anywhere to put the right front tire when they pulled it off, so it just kind of dangled there and actually sat on the wing for a second. Look at this battle right here. Dixon wants it.
This is awesome. Will Power ran wide. Dixon tried to go the inside. Will looks like he's got his hands full while Dixon is hooked up. You ride with Dixon.
You cannot pass on the outside.
But you can look.
This is good stuff.
I hope somebody makes me eat those words. I'd love to see it, but that is very tough. Now, right here, got to stay close. Tap through the chicane here. Be back hard on the power. See if you can get a run. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. Let's see if he has a go. He's on the push to pass. Both of them are.
Look at this. He is looking racy. Remember, this is one of our championship contenders.
Maybe a crossover.
You're clear.
Tried.
Ooh, he's going to have a great run here. Look at Power. Got sideways on the Power.
And all of a sudden, Graham Rahal is mixing it up with Scott Dixon and Will Power. What a relief for the young man and his team.
Oh, he got through there pretty good.
Kimball in the background, Pagenaud further back, but this fight is all about Dixon and Power.
Oh no, here comes Graham. He's got to run. His favorite corner to pass.
We've reported it, Scott.
Inside Rahal. No, Dixon gets loose. Dixon really had to catch that.
That is as close as you get from crashing. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that. Oh my gosh.
And look at the ground. All of a sudden, Townsend, that he's lost to Will Power.
And you can tell on that one, Townsend, that you see Scott's running a little bit of rear brake there.
Yeah.
The way that car flicked when he got on the brakes really late.
And that's my preference. If I'm going to choose erring on the side of more front or rear bias, I'm always going to pick rear bias, especially at a street circuit, because it gives me a chance to pitch the car. If I do lock up, okay, I can kind of go-kart the thing, if you will, drift it sideways into the corner. If I lock my fronts, I can't turn.
What a phenomenal battle we're seeing between Will Power, Scott Dixon, Graham Rahal, Oriol Serbia at the back taking the fight to Simon Pagenaud. Meanwhile, up front, it's Sebastian Bourdais. See you in a moment.
We'll never know if somehow, in some way, we can affect the outcome of a game. But when the clock's winding down and everything's on the line, we all believe.
My wife, is she alive? For now. If you want her back, follow my instructions precisely. Drive. Rule number 1. There is a package at the bank. Steal it and get it out of the city. Rule number 2. The police will be after you. Don't get caught. Rule number 3. You have 2 hours. I'm coming after you. You hear me? The clock is ticking.
Getaway. Rated PG-13. Now playing.
A man and his truck and a broken fence and a lost calf and the heart to search for as long as it takes and the truck that lets him search for as long as it takes. The all-new Chevy Silverado, the most fuel-efficient V8 in a pickup, strong for all the roads ahead.
The Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl champions!
The Super Bowl champion Ravens take on the Broncos in a playoff rematch. Thursday night, it's back to football, only on NBC.
2 great races on one network. Formula One racing lines up with the Italian Grand Prix live next Sunday. Then, it's IndyCar's Shell Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston live Saturday, October 5th. All on the NBC Sports Network.
What are you doing? Well, look at this, Wally. This is unbelievable. EJ Vizo's having some sort of issue, and he's got the field all over the back of him. He's picked up his pace now, but he has caused a huge stack up here at Baltimore. Welcome back, folks. This is tight, close quarters action.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't run Vizo over there. I mean, he had power, and all those guys just, I don't know if Vizo just lost control for there a second, but how he didn't cause a 4 or 5 car wreck there, I have no idea. And they're still all over the back of him.
So just watching the lap times, the guy who's been flying, Sebastian Bourdais, has opened up a huge gap. He's got a 10-second gap at this point. And you see Dixon, Marco Andretti there, and look at Serbia.
And there it goes.
Oh, it's a rear pod.
Yep.
It's a rear wheel pod, and Hunter Ray pinged it out of the way.
And we are right at the halfway mark of this race, as quick as that, on a very hot and humid day in Maryland. And the racing has been equally as entertaining. Bourdais leads by some 10 seconds. He's on a different pit strategy to the guys like Will Power and Scott Dixon and Simon Pagenaud, but he's been setting some blisteringly fast lap paces. Vautier and Saavedra are also in the same boat as that, and Helio Castroneves runs fourth. Vizo has had enormous trouble this weekend at this circuit, and he continues to find it tough here at Baltimore. Let's find out about another guy who's had a tough day, Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, Diff, he's over in his pit stall. What at the end of the day, Dario, put you out?
That was brakes. After 6 laps, the pedal went to the floor, which was a bit of a shock going in there to turn 12. You face the wall as you brake. So, yeah, a bit worried about that. Did it again in 1. So we obviously realized there was an issue, and that was close.
It was Kanan going by us.
And we came in, let the brakes, went back out, and then as soon as I started pushing again, same thing happened. So called it a day, unfortunately. But with no brakes on a street course, it's not great. We're already 7 laps down, so no point in risking anything.
I asked Chip this question. I'll ask you the same question. Concern at all for your teammate Scott Dixon?
There's always concern, isn't it? You know, Scott can definitely handle himself out there. But if there's anybody wanting to fight, it's Dixie and those boys in the 9 car as well. You know, the target team's pretty strong, so I think he'll be all right.
And I notice you can't take your eyes off the monitor. You know, there's air conditioning in the booth. If you want to go hang out with those guys, it's like 105 out here.
I might take you up on that, but then again, I'm going to have to run to the airport. We'll see.
You can leave early.
See what my ride says, but I'd like to watch the end of this one. It's getting interesting out there.
All right, boys, you might want to make room. I think you might have a guest coming over there to hang out with you for a little while.
I tell you, talk about a guy that it looks like Hinchcliffe's got no brakes.
Yeah.
The passes he's been making, he has been making some really good moves under braking.
Here's Sebastian Bourdais with no issues, but as you said, Wally, it's just dive bomb city. Everybody in that pack seems to have one issue or another.
What has been interesting is, though, the guys see them coming most of the time, and so there's been some very respectful and sensible driving. So this is the Dragon Racing machine of race leader at the moment, Sebastian Bourdais. Did not pit this time round, so heads down the straight down to turn 8. Here's Charlie Kimball getting by Marco Andretti. It's a traffic jam, isn't it? Newgarden's in the middle there, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and then Simona Di Silvestro. So you're talking here 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, etc. A little further down in the pack.
This is the first race this year where we've seen the Andretti team really struggle. I mean, Hunter-Reay's really doesn't seem to be on the pace. We saw Vizo with huge issues. Marco's struggling out there. Hinchcliffe, this is the first time this season that we've seen any weakness out of a championship team.
Ryan Hunter-Reay thought about it there for a second. He knows that Graham Rahal has been executing passes there very effectively all day long, and he's trying to get past his Andretti Autosport teammate. Let's paint the picture broadly. Sebastian Bourdais has a 12-second lead over Vautier and Saavedra. Those 3 drivers have been out there for 27 laps since they stopped. There goes Hunter-Reay on Andretti. So they'll be coming in soon. And then you've got Castroneves, Power, Dixon, Vizo and Rahal in the top 8. This track that has a little bit of everything. It's got some undulation, it's got concrete, it's got asphalt, it's got manhole covers, it's got jumps, chicanes. There's the chicane. That has been the hottest spot this weekend. And look how effectively Newgarden gets through there as he pulls out to get around Marco Andretti. And here's our race leader in. Jan?
And by my calculations, if this stop goes well for Sebastian Bourdais, he may be able to re-enter in 5th place. Of course, he's going to be on a different pit strategy. They're going for sticker reds. He has loved this car on the red sidewall Firestones, and he's getting brand new. Very nice stop, 7.9 for Bourdais. So watch the monitor and see if, in fact, he does pull off 5th place on the racetrack.
So here comes Will Power. So he will actually slot into that 5th spot. Good call, Jan. That's exactly where he rotates out.
He's leaving on cold tire.
And Bourdais in a great spot because if we got a ton of yellow, which is always possible based on what we're watching, he might even be able to stretch it to the end. If he doesn't get that yellow, he's in maybe the top 5 or 6, and he only has one stop like the other guys.
Exactly. Look at the damage on Vautier's car. The Schmidt-Peterson machine. He's got front, rear. It's all happening for the rookie, who led every lap here last year to win the Firestone Indy Lights race. So he likes this circuit. He does well at this circuit. And he's on the same strategy as the man who just pitted, Sebastian Bourdais. Oh, we got drama here. This is for Stefan Wilson.
Oh, boy. That is right at turn 6. Turn 7, excuse me, right before pit entrance. And I think right after pit entrance, and I think he just overcooked it there. You look at the marbles laid down. Wow.
3rd full course caution, do we see? There's local yellow, obviously. But are we going full course here? More than likely. So here comes Vautier. He's the first in. There's going to be a scramble here. With 35 laps to go here in Baltimore. Here's Saavedra.
Second stop for Sebastian Saavedra, who is running in second. He's still going to need one more stop unless there's a lot of yellow. Good run, though, so far.
Tristan Vautier is taking the opportunity to get a new nose, but not while this goes on. There's a lot at the front as well, Marty.
What a great move for our championship leader. He also had the advantage of hitting pit road, but they have a problem on pit road. They did not get the right front tight. They have to put it back up in the air. Now he leaves pit road. He'll lose a little bit of track position, but still an advantage. They did get to pit road before the caution came out, guys.
So under our second full course caution of the day. Who else is coming on pit road? Let's see. Here's Kimball.
Charlie Kimball hitting pit road. The car very good. No changes. Once again, he'll put on those red tires. You see right in front of him, Ryan Hunter-Reay. Terrific stop by the Andretti guys. A slow stop for Charlie Kimball. And the right front couldn't get that tire on. So a slow stop for those guys as well. And there goes Justin Wilson and Marco Andretti leaving pit road as well.
And those are costly stops when they come in there that tight on the racetrack. It's just, boy, a second or two, you'll lose 4 or 5 positions.
All right, let's go back to the Penske stop for championship leader Elio Castro-Neves. Let's take a look.
It looks to me like the right front air gun gets jammed, and then they...
What a great move for our championship leader. He also had...
Wow.
They dropped the jack before the wheel was on it.
And guys, on the radio, Elio Castro-Neves said, "I'm so sorry, Doug." Talking to his right front tire changer, he way missed his marks, went too far forward. They had to regroup from there, and that's where that stop went awry. But again, should have that advantage of getting to pit road before it was closed.
And those boxes are, I think you mentioned, or somebody mentioned earlier, they're pretty tight down there.
Yeah.
These boxes are very tight at this racetrack.
And of course, his teammate Power had the same issue going long on his stop.
So that is the stranded Stefan Wilson in the second Dale Coyne entry.
And he's going to maybe get back in. He's looking at that right front. You can see him getting his belts ready. And I don't know if that's for a toe-in or if he looks at his suspension and thinks, you know what?
I might be able to get it going.
Might be able to get it going. These cars, as we've talked about many times this year, much stronger than an Indy Lights car in a contact situation like that, which is where Stefan Wilson last raced.
We had 7 full course cautions last week. This is only number 2 of the day as they rescue the Nirvana T entry for Dale Coyne Racing. We'll be back.
A warm, muggy day here in Baltimore, but a beautiful day. So far, no rain. We thought we might have rain showers, but so far, none in the area. We talked about Elio Castro-Neves' pit stop just a moment ago. You see him riding under caution right now, and we talked about him apologizing to his crew. They've been fighting all day long. Here is a replay of what happened. The right front tire changer is Doug Snyder. You'll see the car. Watch the helmet physically run into him. It actually was his ankle, and that's what caused Elio to miss his marks on that stop. They did get the stop completed. I did talk to Doug Snyder. He said, "I'm fine. I'm going to make the next stop without a problem." He does have a little ice pack on his left ankle, though. He will be fine, Jan.
With Jay Penske, and Jay, you're on the radio with Sebastian Bourdais. Just a disaster in qualifying, but now you've had a great rebound. What's the strategy now going forward?
Well, I think we've been a bit fortunate that the yellows come.
We listen in as he talks to Sebastian.
So I think we've had a good car all weekend. It was unfortunate that in qualifying we got stuck there in the back, but the car's been fast all weekend. The True Car and McAfee effort is so good, and we're back on the same strategy as the leaders, and we can go green all the way. So we're looking very good here.
Wow, that's good news for Sebastian Bourdais. And again, a huge crash in qualifying that really set them back.
Well, and to hear from Jay Penske say there we're in the lead and we're on the same pit stop cycle as the leaders, he's actually in a far better position. He's got 8 more laps worth of fuel in his car than what Will Power has. So he's in a really good spot, and his lap times have been sizzling.
Sensational. He has been, half second to 7/10 quicker than Power when Power was leading. It's been really amazing.
So it will be interesting. First full course caution was Ed Carpenter, nosed it into the tyre wall, and then at the end of that yellow, Luca Filippi had a small fire aboard his Barracuda Racing Honda. That had a very big effect on that first yellow, and then this one for Stephen Wilson. So coming to the end of our second full course caution, hopefully on the other side of this break, we'll go racing. Grand Prix of Baltimore right after this.
For 185 years, Irwin has been making professional tools for professional tradesmen. Today, Irwin Tools salutes those who build this nation with their bare hands. Join Irwin in celebrating National Tradesman Day to say thanks for a job well done.
A woman and her truck. A woman, her truck, and a 1,200-pound passenger. And 2 bodies with 1 mind. And a ribbon that goes on her wall, not in her hair. The all-new Chevy Silverado, with the best available towing in its class. Strong for all the roads ahead.
The command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Row 1, on.
Live in-car cameras.
Base car rolling.
4-in-1 Mosaic. Having your heart raced as fast as theirs.
Here we go.
Hey, good for green. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
I like to golf all morning. That's why I eat Belvita at breakfast. It's made with delicious ingredients, then carefully baked to release steady energy that lasts. You're golfing now, buddy. I got it. Belvita, steady energy all morning long.
And now introducing new Belvita soft-baked breakfast biscuits. Made with delicious ingredients and whole grains, they'll give you 20% of your daily fiber and a new way to get nutritious morning energy. Available in mixed berry and oats and chocolate.
Your car may have been born in 1997, but give it a new set of Firestone tires, and it could feel like it's fresh off the lot. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Sorry sight for our defending race winner and defending series champion. You would have seen it at home. We're back here live now. Ryan Hunter-Reay stationary on track on the streets of downtown Baltimore on this Inner Harbor circuit. And the reports while we were away, Wally, radio transmission of maybe stuck in gear, just can't get going.
Exact same thing happened to his teammate Marco Andretti in practice yesterday. So, Marty, are they trying to figure out what they have? Is it like a battery problem? Is it that simple?
Well, yeah, Michael Andretti's got about 5 guys around him right now trying to figure this out. And remember, there's a championship play here, too. Ryan Hunter-Reay, our 3rd player in the championship. You see the extra battery they do have out. They're going to put one in when he can get to pit road, but they can't get, there's no volts in the car, so they can't even get it started with the starter that the Homatro safety team has brought out to them. So they're going to have to actually get towed back to pit road and then try and get the thing cranked up. But it's been a terrible day for these guys. Fell back as far as 22nd. They don't have a bad car, made their way back into the top 10, but trying to figure out how to fix this problem.
The problem they're having with the tow-in is they can't get it in neutral.
Can you bump start these things?
You can, but you have to have electricity.
And they had that problem earlier, Towns. Remember, it went into anti-stall, and they couldn't get it out of first gear. You had to put it in neutral to get the thing to crank the first time.
And you've got a hand clutch, and the hand clutch is electronic. So there's no way to get that car
dragging it.
You'd be dragging it, yeah.
And guys, he's now going to get out of the car. Just radioed to the guys. He's going to physically get out of the car. So this may be the end of the day for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And that's going to require a flatbed, and the number of yellow laps that any of these guys needed to stretch their fuel window, like Bourdais, just plays right into their hands.
Helping Sebastian Bourdais massively. And look at the frustration on Ryan Hunter-Reay. The championship contender, it's getting farther and farther away from him. And his teammate and his team leader's son, Marco Andretti, is only 8 points behind him in the championship. It could be really bad. He could lose 3rd place in this championship right here today, depending on where Andretti finishes. And the attrition rate today here has been unusually high for IZOD IndyCar Series races. This means Sato out, Jake's out, Filippi out, Franchitti out, and Ryan Hunter-Ray. And he is devastated.
So hard to win a second championship just based on the competition level, not to mention issues like this completely out of his control.
All right, so the discussion goes on there at Andretti. Let's find out more from the pits. Here's Kevin.
Many takers here trying to take this opportunity off with the reds, on with the blacks. Right behind me, you see Ed Carpenter getting out in front. Also, EJ Viso just came down a moment ago, and we'll see Tony Kanaan in a moment, who earlier changed the front wing. That's why he went from 6th back to 19th. But Kanaan now is essentially back on the same strategy as everyone else that has to stop, but a lot are trying to make it the rest of the way.
Thanks, Kev. Changing gears for a moment. Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, NBCSN kicks off the college football season with a clash between cross-state rivals. It's Delaware versus Delaware State, and that's Saturday at 3:30 Eastern right here on NBCSN. It's a good look on the way, all the way up the front straight and towards the chicane. Been an interesting day. We're far from done. We are on lap 45 of this 75-lap race. It's going to make an interesting end to the race. And I wonder how our rookie, the only rookie in this year's championship, is placed. Well, he's in the top 10 at the moment. He won the Firestone Indy Lights Championship last year, and it's been a real delight to have Tristan Vautier in the IZOD IndyCar Series this year.
When you're like a 6 or 7 years old kid, all you see on TV is F1 and Michael Schumacher winning, so you want to go to F1, right? Because you don't know any better. But looking at some drivers moving to USA, and then you start getting interested into it. Okay, what is it? Like, it just took me a first flight to USA and a first test in Star Mazda to realize I loved it. One of the guys, when you were a French driver, that you would look at who managed to succeed in USA, it was first Sebastian Bourdais, then Simon came and succeeded, and for sure it's one of those guys who pushed me to make the move, just seeing them succeed so well. So I wouldn't say it was like my idol, but for sure a bit of an inspiration. Our long-term goal is to convert the whole team to full-time French-speaking people, but it's tough to kind of focus on the racing and that at the same time, so at the moment only a few words.
And we have a fellow countryman leading this race. Frenchman Sebastian Bourdais is the race leader. 3 Frenchmen in this race. Not only Tristan Vautier, Sebastian Bourdais, but also Simon Pagenaud as well, and 3 incredibly talented drivers. And it just shows and it underscores the international allure of the IZOD IndyCar Championship, with drivers like Luca Filippi coming over and competing. He is loving his time in America, and he'll be there the whole weekend at Houston at the doubleheader on the street course there. And then, of course, J.R. Hildebrand will take over the machine to finish up the season for Barracuda Racing. So we remain under caution while they clean the track and get things ready to go. There is a very, very disappointed champion, Ryan Hunter-Ray. No win in Baltimore for RHR this year.
Something big is coming. Big and powerful. Big and beautiful. Introducing the Fiat 500L. Big enough for 4 passengers. Or even 5. The 4-door Fiat 500L.
My parents always wanted me to be a doctor or a stockbroker.
What do you think?
Sounds awful. Who's that?
It's Niki Lauda.
To be a champion, it takes discipline.
I heard about this thing with Nicky.
The killing is out there.
It's over, superstar. More powerful than everything is the will to win.
Do you think you can cope with the pressure?
Trust me. Rush, a Ron Howard film, rated R.
ultra-rugged phones from Sprint. Buy one, get 4 free and $150 credit when you switch your business line to Sprint, the pioneers in push-to-talk.
Give me your street circuits, your ovals. Give me your road courses and your cathedrals of speed. Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
Only on the NBC Sports Network.
Back in Baltimore, you see the field still under yellow as we work this caution, and in the shadow of Camden Yards sits our champion last year and the guy who won this race last year, Ryan Hunter-Reay. At the end of the day, what put you out?
Well, to begin with, we had a anti-stall mechanism trigger, but it didn't work as it was supposed to because I couldn't put the clutch in and keep going. So that dropped us to last, and then we had to start getting creative, using up a lot of overtake, passing a lot of cars. It was fun while it lasted. We were moving up, but in the end, we don't know what it was. Something with the power in the car, something electronic, just died all of a sudden. Battery voltage looked good, and then just completely died. So no idea. It's just heartbreaking when you know how hard these guys work. You know, we've had a pretty good season. I mean, 2 wins and 3 poles, and now that we see the championship slipping away, it's frustrating. But can't thank DHL, Chevy, and these Andretti Autosport guys for sticking behind us.
Tough for our reigning champ, and a little bit developing news lead. We have learned as we get ready to go green, Helio Castroneves' last stop is officially under review for hitting equipment on pit road.
Whoa, look at these guys. Look at these guys down into turn 1. Sebastian Bourdais. Dixon was brilliant on the restart there. Oh, and he turns. Rahal turns Dixon in turn 1.
Yeah, but Dixon didn't give Rahal a whole lot of room. Yeah, they're blocked there.
Dixon gets going. Track is blocked at turn 1. And if you didn't hear what Marty said at the end of his report, it was at car number 3. There it is right there. Championship leader Helio Castroneves. His last pit stop is under review by race officials. Newgarden is blocked. Hinchcliffe stationary.
And we're hearing that race control is going to black flag Castroneves for the previous stop. So, how quickly things can turn here. Now, you were just making the point with Graham that you thought Dixon should have just kept the door open there.
Well, I'm not sure Dixon knew he was there, but Rahal was. And I think Dixon really swept down when he went through that corner, and I don't believe he had any idea Rahal was there.
Yeah.
Wow. We have had it all here in Baltimore today. Watch this restart. Scott Dixon in the red car. Here comes Graham Rahal on the inside.
What a great view. I mean, Dixon at this point, I think you're right, Wally. I don't think he had any idea. And if you're Graham, you got to back out. You got to.
Well, you can back out, but I think he was backed out as much as he could be. There wasn't a whole lot further you could back out on that deal.
Look at all these smart guys that are just going to the outside to take the overshoot.
On board with Oriol Servia. How does it look from his view?
I mean, Rahal was about going as slow as you could go.
He was doing
scrubbing the wall.
I mean, Graham was doing everything he could to stay away from him. He was right up against the wall. He can't get any further over. But I think you're right. I don't think Dixon had any idea. You know what I think? Dixon decided at the last second to try to cross under and square up the exit. I don't think Graham expected that. So purely a racing thing. I hope they don't review this as avoiding.
Yeah, I don't put any blame on either one of those guys there. Although about 5 or 6 of these guys may not agree with us.
And at the end of the day, there wasn't too much harm done for Scott Dixon. He was able to flick spin it and get going again, while the rest of the track was jammed and blocked. And a couple of different onboard angles for you as well as we head down there into turn 1 on that restart. This is Helio Castroneves.
And you know, when things start to accord and everything backs up, there's not a whole lot you can do in this situation. When this happens in front of you in a tight corner like that,
Charlie Kimball's view,
there's no place to go.
No.
There's no exit here.
And the problem is your foot is off the brake and on the throttle, ready to exit, ready to get a jump on the guy in front of you.
Now, that was a good exit.
That was smart there from Charlie Kimball.
Yeah.
And here he is. Marty, tell us more.
Well, for our championship leader, Helio Castroneves, things have certainly gone south. They're going to get the black flag here for hitting someone on pit road just a moment ago. We told you hit Doug Snyder, his right front tire changer. You hear John Erickson. So here's the plan right now. They're going to come down pit road. Pit road is closed right now. They're going to change the nose only. That's all they can do on this stop right now. Then the next stop, they have to actually serve the penalty. They're going to come, put tires and fuel in on that stop. No matter what, kind of not a big penalty because they're going to be in the back of the field anyway after that spin already. So Helio will have to work his way through the field. This should be a lot of fun to watch, Lee.
That was John Erickson you saw there on the pit box communicating to Helio Castroneves. There's that damage on the front wing. Marty mentioned he'll need to come in and get that fixed, get that addressed.
But that's when these cautions like last week, the cautions kind of breed cautions. We had like 8 or 9 cautions, and Castroneves was in the middle of it all the time. So, boy, those are just a lot of bullets that you have to dodge when you have to do these restarts.
Well, Graham Rahal's going to give us his view of how it happened down into turn 1.
So I'm on board here with Graham, with you guys at home, and watch Graham at the last second just kind of pokes his nose here. I think he thought Dixon was going to stay wide on the line he was on and follow Bourdais through. Again, just totally caught him out.
Yeah, his left front was even locked up, so it wasn't like he was rolling in there. I mean,
new front nose for Helio Castroneves. That's done.
Clear out. All right, we're going to pit again this time. Pits are now open. We're going to come in for fuel and tires.
That is the voice of John Erickson on his pit stand. So tense times for the top 2, for the top 3 in the championship. Ryan Hunter-Reay, one of many drivers out of this race.
Green, we're going to have to do a drive-through anyway for the previous pit stop. So we might as well put good tires and fuel on this thing.
And there you have it. Common sense, of course, highly practiced. If we've got to come in anyway, we may as well add some fuel and fresh tyres and give you the best possible chance for the last stanza of this race to really attack. There's Scott Dixon, who only lost a couple of positions, but we do need to say that we have heard from race control that this turn 1 incident is under review.
Well, Lee, what's going to be interesting is what happens when the track gets blocked, because the track's going to get blocked now, and all these cars are going to go around and pass cars in the runoff. The first guy to go is Kimball, I believe, and there goes Vizo, there goes Wilson, and now you've got all these cars bunched up that are stalled, and all of these guys are going to zoom around and pass. Now, Jan, I believe you attended the drivers' meeting. I think this was discussed, wasn't it?
It was, and what they said was that they will go yellow, and then they will look at the timing strip, the last timing line that they cross. They'll take the order. They'll reorder the cars based on the previous timing line, and then subtracting those who were involved in the incident, they go to the back of the pack.
Which means Dixon goes to the back of the pack.
Correct.
But then
why? Because
he's involved in the incident.
Well, so too was Graham Rahal.
Yeah.
Okay, but all I'm saying is those guys were
involved in the incident.
No, they weren't involved. They were blocked.
Cars.
The track was blocked. You can't be involved in the incident if the track was blocked and you stopped.
Well, but
the guys that caused the incident were Rahal and Dixon.
So now for Simon Pagenaud, he was also stopped. He also came and made some slight contact right at the same time that we see James Hinchcliffe. Now he's going to go for a front nose because he definitely has front wing damage as Joseph Newgarden peels out after his service.
Yeah, the only point I was trying to make, Wally, is there's not just one incident of contact. There's 3 or 4 cars that run into each other trying to slow down. Are they part of the incident, or is that just...
I would say no. I mean, I would say that they were they got boxed up. They had no place to go. They ran into each other. The guys that were involved in the incident, in my opinion, is Rahal and Dixon. So we'll just see how they call it.
Here we go.
Yeah, so... being a race official, Wally, a thankless job, wouldn't you say? I mean, I don't know how to call this.
It really is.
Okay, there's contact with Hinch, there's contact with Vautier, there's contact. But again, to your point, it wasn't the starting incident. I mean, all these guys, there's contact.
So there's been plenty of pit stops going on. There's been a reshuffle. We will reorganize and restart. Grand Prix of Baltimore continues.
We know some people just can't leave things be. They wonder how much faster this thing could go.
What if it weighed less or turned sharper? They know that things can always be better. We count ourselves among those people. Introducing the quicker, sleeker, smarter, best Civic Si yet, made possible by Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Your car. It's been your wingman, dining room, and best friend. Baby maker, and baby soother. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car, it only matters what you put in it. That's why Pennzoil is designed to give you unsurpassed engine protection, so you can protect your car and the memories made in it. Save 50 cents per gallon on Shell fuel with a 5-quart purchase of Pennzoil Synthetics. Make it a Pennzoil change.
Inside yours. Keep pushing here, bud. That's turn 4, spotter. Turn 4 is clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. One push to fast left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Faces of 2013, and could this man here, Sebastian Bourdais, be our 11th different winner this year? If he is, that will tie the open wheel record in American racing. Pretty interesting. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition for the Dragon Racing driver, the 4-time open wheel champion in the Champ Car Series. Look at this for a sight. Baltimore has really turned it on now for the 3rd year in a row. Last year there was mixed weather conditions. This year it has been great. The locals, the IndyCar fans of Maryland have just been wonderful. And to race right in the heart of the city, right alongside the inner harbour there, has just been wonderful. We've enjoyed some nice nights out at dinner, walking the streets. The weather's been beautiful. A huge thank you to all of the volunteers and Andretti Sports Marketing, the promoter of the event, the town, the city, the councils, everybody who has supported this event for this year and the previous 2. We hope to be coming here for many years to come. They were waiting on some news about perhaps a new deal for the Grand Prix of Baltimore to continue for the next few years. Fingers crossed on that one, because it certainly makes for interesting racing.
Car 7, case car speed. Car 7, case car speed.
Not far away from going racing now to take this one home. It's going to be a 23-lap sprint.
So check this out, guys. I'm looking at the top 7. We think that Rahal, Power, Servia, Dixon would have to pit. If that happens and this thing goes green, your 3rd-place finisher could be E.J. Vizo.
Wow. At a weekend that has been one of his toughest of the year.
I mean, amazing. That's a great example of don't quit, hang in there, stay with it, keep fighting. I mean, he looked hopelessly slow there 20 laps ago.
Here we go. We're packing up for a restart. Let's see if we can keep it clean this time. Let's go. Dixon on the inside.
Oh, wow.
Will Power chops across in front of Scott Dixon, and the championship contenders' day is over.
What?
Chopped across
the world.
Holy cow. That's about as blatant as it gets.
Wow.
That was... We got to see that again. I don't want to comment just yet, but he just...
Well, I think he went in for the block, but I think he had no idea he was there.
Oh, that was weird.
That was severe. That was alarming, and that's the face of Mike Hull, the managing director of Chip Ganassi Racing.
And, I mean, I can't believe the irony and the... I mean, Elio having the pit stop issues, these two guys running into each other in practice. Yeah. I mean, this is just...
About the car, Scott, tell us about it.
This is Shakespearean.
And guys, remember their pits are right beside each other, so a couple of stairs were shot across the way as well, so this is not over, I don't think.
Well, if tensions weren't high enough last weekend, they've just been elevated to a whole new level. Here's the replay. Look to the left of your screen.
So you'll see Dixon shoot out right there to the left, and I mean...
Oh, you know what? I think Power was going to pop on Bourdais. There's no way that he wouldn't block that aggressively. I think he had a run on Bourdais. He didn't realize Dixon had popped on him, and that's just a terrible set of circumstances for everybody. That's a chain reaction.
Yep.
Dixon pops, and then Power just pops to make a run on Bourdais. Look at the marbles.
Well, but it's true for looking at that angle. It's like, holy cow.
And what is the luck of Castroneves after a tough day in your championship competition?
The two closest to you in the championship,
And how about Dixon? I mean, he did nothing wrong here again.
And boy, Dixon had a great run, too.
I mean, this guy's had the worst luck in the last few weeks.
So, under caution, yet again, Will Power is on pit road.
And Lee, the right rear suspension pretty much completely gone for Will Power, and Will Power just said on the radio to Tim Cindric, "I'm completely sorry, guys. I just lost it in a straight line." That's what he said to Tim Cindric just now, and he apologized to his guys, said he lost it in a straight line and apologized to his guys. When you guys talk about Elio Castroneves, you think about his teammate. Remember Mid-Ohio? We all thought Scott Dixon was going to gain points there. He didn't. We thought Scott Dixon was going to gain points at Sonoma. He didn't. And once again, it seems like Elio Castroneves will come out championship-wise, the guy looking really good today. You see Scott Dixon trying to clean up the mess back there.
Marty, I can understand Power saying I lost it in a straight line, but I don't think he realizes that Dixon was right there, and he probably doesn't realize that it was the contact that got him sideways. He's going too fast with too much downforce to lose it at that point.
Yeah, if you look at it, like Townsend pointed out, Power had a run on Bourdais, and he was taking that last second to make the move. And when you're in this position, Townsend, you don't look at the rear view mirror when you're on a restart like this. Yeah, I'm not even sure you're right. I don't think Dixon, he even knows he made contact.
Yep.
He made that pull. You get right up to the back of the guy, you make that last minute pull. I don't even think he knows he hit Dixon.
You might, Marty, if you're still there, you might ask Tim if Tim Cindric, if Will knows that he was clipped from behind.
I'll get that in, Townsend. There's a lot going on down here right now. They're trying to figure out if they can get the car fixed to get him back in the race, number one. They don't want him to get out, obviously, if they can get this car fixed. But obviously, if they're going to get it fixed, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work.
I just hate to see a racing driver sitting there thinking he just lost it on the straightaway. When it
and even when we saw that first view, when he pulled out to the right, I mean, that looked... From that angle, it was like, holy cow, that wasn't an intentional block. But when you see the shot from the back and how close he was to Bourdais, he was making a move on him.
Bourdais pulled out and just turned hard right.
No, he's convinced.
I think he still doesn't know, guys, and they have not offered it up because he's still on the radio saying, I can't believe I did that. We're up in fourth or fifth gear.
But does he know he's been hit from behind? I still don't know that he actually understands.
He still said, I don't know what happened, Towns. He just said on the red, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I heard that, but
he obviously doesn't know that he got into the Dixon car. That's what put him in the wall.
And we all know Will Power so well, and just looking at his eyes, looking at Tim Cindric,
and guys, real quick,
sorrow.
Tim Cindric telling him on the radio now, oh, okay, Will Power says, I get it. He didn't know he hit Dixon. You guys were right on. He said, that's why I turned right. I had no idea.
Thanks for clearing that up, Marty.
Now it makes sense to Will Power. What a wild day in Baltimore, and we're not done yet. Stick around. We are back, and some interesting hand gestures and communication between Scott Dixon and Will Power. How much can Scott Dixon take in 2 weekends? He and Ryan Hunter-Reay have watched their championship chances evaporate. And check this out. These two had contact earlier in the weekend, and it ended with smiles and with Will apologising because Will hit him in practice. But I think once...
When you're sitting in Dixon's seat,
yeah,
and that's all he's thinking is that looked like it was on purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And that's why he's angry, because that's the way he thinks right now.
Well, I think you just get to a point where you're just like,
yeah, enough's enough.
So many weird accidents, so many weird things. I mean, how could it be? But I can't fault Will there. I understand what he was seeing.
After looking at the replays, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Marty's there. Marty?
Well, we'll try to get a word with Scott Dixon, talking it over with Chip Ganassi. He was clearly upset. He went to one of the head IndyCar officials and had a chat with him. Scott, what did you have to say to Rocket?
I was just annoyed that it clearly states every time that they'll bring the car back to the pits unless it's 10 laps to go. We're fighting for every point at the moment. There's a little bit of suspension damage, but definitely something we can repair. So I have no idea why they haven't brought it back to the pits. But that's just Bo making it up as he goes every time. There's just absolutely no consistency. Rahal takes me out, doesn't seem like any penalty, and then the 12 car just slams us on the wall. So, man, it's been a rough couple of weeks.
So you were not upset about the contact. You're upset because IndyCar will not bring your car to pit road.
I'm upset about that, but I'm also, I'm upset about the 12. I don't know what he was thinking. I was clearly alongside, and then he just turned straight into me. If you're pulling in that direction, you're going to see that mirror. You can see a car clearly in it. So it was a total, in reaction situation. And I'll talk to Will afterwards. I don't want to get, say something that I'm going to regret later.
All right, Scott Dixon with his thoughts on that, clearly indicating he felt like Will Power blocking him on that move, and also upset with IndyCar because he would like his car back to pit road because they feel like they can get back into this race.
Ready to go racing, Graham Rahal on the inside, Sebastian Bourdais the outside, Servia behind Rahal, and Kimball in the mix there as well. Some light lockups and contact with Bourdais. Servia hits Bourdais. No. These guys...
Is this Groundhog Day?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I feel like Scott Dixon right now. It's just like, come on. It's just one thing after another.
All right, there you go. There you go. Nice job, Charlie. Nice job.
Listen, if you're sitting back here and forth, these top three guys are got to stop, right?
Rahal has to stop, and Servia has to stop.
That's why Bourdais wasn't going to race Rahal hard. He was just trying to get through there because he has the race won.
Right.
And then he gets put from behind.
Jan?
Now, just prior to this restart, Graham Rahal's engineer, Neil Fife, had run down and talked to the team of Jay Penske. Now, Graham Rahal, this is going to work for them. They have to make a pit stop. So while he stops, the reason he has to stop, they have never run the red sidewall Firestones. That is a requirement. So he's going to lose track position. But this is a big break for Graham Rahal. So to finish the story, as they tell him to hustle,
Go, Charlie's coming.
They had spoke with Bourdais' team saying, we do not want to race to the death because we know we have to stop again. So that's why Bourdais was easing up on him. Another person who had to make a pit stop was Servia. Of course, Servia, the one getting into Bourdais.
You got all that?
Well, see, that's kind of what I was wondering. Is
exactly.
Why are you guys barreling down in there when you know a lot of these guys in front of you are you going to be pitting?
So here's what happened, I think, with Bourdais. Watch Graham. Graham breaks really, really deep, locks up the front tires. Graham's right here. You're going to see him lock up. Now Bourdais can't turn in, and all of a sudden Bourdais like, finally I can get to the corner, but he's got Servia up the inside, and then that just leads to another big pack up.
This is what it'll look like from Oriol Servia's view.
Now Servia's watching Graham. He thinks he's got room, but he locks up as well.
He's locked up too.
You still want to have that front brake bias, Wally?
Maybe not that much.
Here it is from overhead.
He was able to get the back of the car split around very quickly. He only lost a couple of spots.
Actually, Servia just didn't lock it up. He couldn't turn it.
God, you got to feel for Bourdais. I mean, all he had to do was get through that corner.
That's what I was saying earlier. These guys have been knocking on the door of a great finish.
Watch Servia's left front right there. Going to lock up at the last second. He can't turn.
And that's why he nailed it, because he could not only stop, but he couldn't turn.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the guy who told us this morning that he was horrible this weekend. There's the response from the Dragon team. The driver who told us he was horrible this morning is leading the race. Marco Andretti, who has just stayed out of trouble, kept his nose clean for the majority of the day, is in the lead of this race with 18 laps to go.
And with plenty of fuel on board to make it to the end. And keep in mind, his father's also the promoter of the Baltimore Grand Prix. If we would have told Marco when we saw him this morning, we stopped him on a scooter, that, hey man, you're going to hang in there and just work your way to the front, I mean, he would have laughed. He said we have no chance.
Yes, he did. He was pretty down in the dumps about it. Here's Saavedra. He was another one that...
Let's go. See if we can beat these guys out. See if we can beat the leader out here.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. It was close. That was very close.
Well, he thinks he did. So, I'm not sure he's going to get away with that.
I'm not sure which blend line that was.
He thought he said, get out and beat the leader.
Yeah. I think the blend line would be right at the end of pit speed limit, which is at the end of the straight part of pit lane, but perhaps he's privy to some information.
So the twists and turns of this race have been fascinating, and we add another chapter to it. Take a look at this.
Your blend line, I believe, right there, and he's one car, but he was close.
Kevin, tell us more. Tony Kanaan, who starts his 212th consecutive race today, is in second place.
Yeah, looky there. He had a good run, worked his way up to 6th. Then he had some wing damage, had to change it, make an unscheduled pit stop. But now he is back in the mix. I don't know about Marco's situation, but Kanaan definitely, even without this yellow, was good to go to the rest of the way, running full ridge. So Tony Kanaan still might pull out his 17th career win in consecutive start number 212 today.
Yeah, and Kevin, definitely the day is not over. There's a lot yet to come. And the question will be raised again, what about the reordering for those people who took the shortcut and picked up positions? And Townsend, I will say that when I ran you through what they said in the drivers' meeting earlier, that's how they were going to reorder under a red. So they've obviously chosen to take a slightly different interpretation for when it stays full course caution. But at least for a red and a track blocked, you can hear in the background that is race control trying to reorder the cars, and they're doing it slightly differently than locking it down at a timeline and then reordering those who took the shortcut.
You know, we spend some time this year, and we're looking at Marco Andretti's wing damage. Get to that in a second. I just wanted to say we spent some time this year giving the race officials a hard time. This is when we thank God for those race officials, because this is a mess to work through the running order. Marco Andretti is your leader. We think he's got enough fuel to make it to the finish, but does he have enough front downforce, Wally? That is the left front wing completely worked.
Marty?
Well, Diff, if you look at the running order on the top of our screen, it'll show our championship leader, Helio Castroneves, in 6th. The problem with that is, you see him on screen right there, they still haven't served their drive-through penalty because we didn't go a full lap under green. So they actually, when we go back to green, have to serve that drive-through penalty. They'll come back out. They should restart 14th or be about 14th in line when they get back out on the track. But nonetheless, looking very good championship-wise for Helio Castroneves today.
And looking really good championship-wise, folks, if you've just joined us, is because closest to him in the championship, Scott Dixon, is out of this race. Ryan Hunter-Reay, 3rd in the championship, out of this race. Dario Franchitti, the 4-time champion, out of this race. Luca Filippi, James Jakes and Takuma Sato also out of this race. The attrition rate has been high.
And you can see there is no way Marco's going to attempt to pit at this point.
No.
From the lead with fuel on board to go the distance, but man, he is going to struggle to keep Kanaan behind him, especially through this corner right here. That is a wicked fast right-hand bend, and
you need to get physical on this restart.
Well, and it's going to be crazy if Marco's really handicapped, as we expect. He's going to be holding up through the field and stacking those guys up in every corner.
Here's the order for you. Marco Andretti, Tony Kanaan, Simon Pagenaud 3rd, Justin Wilson 4th, Bourdais is 5th, Castroneves 6th, but we know he needs to serve that stop. Newgarden 7th, Hinchcliffe is 8th, Ray Hall is 9th, and Kimball is in 10th. And Saavedra being asked to stop and wait for the pace car at the field to go on by. It all started on the opening lap with damage on the front wing to championship leader Helio Castroneves, and he had to come in on the very next lap to get a fresh wing and then get out after it again. Let's scoot ahead to lap lap 35, and he hit one of his pit crew members, the front right tyre changer. It was under review from race control, and they deemed he needed to be black flagged to come in and serve a penalty for that. And then look, the roadblock at turn 1. Elio was involved in that. Boy, has it been a day to forget. And then Graham Rahal and Scott Dixon come together, and there it is. That's the outside view there.
Castroneves has gone through some fun.
He has. And this is the most recent incident, and it was frightening. A misunderstanding from Will Power. Didn't know Scott Dixon was there, and really puts a major dent in his championship chances now. Scott Dixon frustrated. 2 weeks, 2 races, 2 weeks. Does not get the result that he felt he deserved. Woof, what a day it's been, Marty.
Other than that, Lee, not a lot going on today, was there? Scott Dixon just left his pit stall. I did talk to him as he left. He said he did politic with IndyCar officials and pleaded with them, please bring our car to pit road. IndyCar has denied that request, so they will not bring the 9 car back to their pit stall, so they cannot work on it out of the race for the rest of the day.
Thanks for the update. 16 to go. Ready to go back to racing.
Lee, I was watching Marco Andretti try to warm his tires and kind of check his braking potential. He locked his left front immediately. Of course, there's no downforce on that left front. This should be wild.
I'm going to say, yeah, Tony's going to want to try to get on the inside, not anything on the outside of Marco.
Certainly for the first 2 right-handers, no question.
So the Indy 500 champion in his 212th consecutive open wheel start has a shot at winning this one. Ready to roll. Saavedra has tucked back there into that 3rd spot. Justin Wilson. Andretti has the inside run down to turn 1. Marco, and there goes that front wing piece. It's been thrown from the car. Now let's cross your fingers. Let's hope everybody gets through turn 1 cleanly so we can get some racing laps going. Newgarden on the inside of Ed Carpenter there. And clean for the first time in multiple starts.
I'm not sure Tony was prepared for that start.
Look at the pace Marco's got here on a restart with a severely damaged front wing. This is crazy. He's flying. Now where he's really going to suffer is on the backside of that track, that fast right-hand sweeper. And look at this, Saavedra trying to make up lost ground. Great pass.
That was a nice move on Tony Kanaan. Sebastian Bourdais back there, then Justin Wilson, then Sebastian Bourdais.
And this is not something we expected. Tony Kanaan really struggling. And Pagenaud's all over the back of him. And Pagenaud's thinking, if I can get by Kanaan, I think I can get Marco.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got to get by Tony pretty quick because, like you said, the pacing Andretti's set right now, he's starting to put some daylight in between everybody.
Yeah. Second car in shot is not on the lead lap. The true car entry of Sebastian Saavedra. So don't count him in the mix when you look at the racing. There's second there, Kanaan. There's third in Pagenaud. 4th is Wilson. 5th is Bourdais. And we have just learned that Castroneves has, in fact, served his penalty for that black flag a little earlier.
And Saavedra's pushing so hard here because he's trying to unlap himself. And it looks like he's going to get it done here in turn 1. And Marco, of course, is going to know from his team.
Pagenaud down the inside. Nice move.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Now this is going to give us a great battle. Pagenaud's going to come hard and fast.
Oh, Justin Wilson on the outside of Tony Kanaan there. That was a little risky, but he got away with it. Here comes Bourdais on the inside. Thought about it again. And then tucks back in behind the man who he used to compete against in the Champ Car World Series. Fought for championships in that series. And updating you that Will Power has just left the pits and is back on the racetrack as well. He'll incidentally get a drive-through penalty for that contact with Scott Dixon a little earlier in this race. We spent the last 20 laps under yellow. It's good to get racing again.
That's great. Watching Sebastian Bourdais work Justin Wilson hard there. Saavedra, of course, has unlapped himself.
Wow, look at Pagenaud just close up the gap on Marco Andretti. I don't think Marco's going to be able to keep him back.
Pagenaud has felt great about this race and about his car all weekend. He and his teammate Tristan Vautier said the team have just worked wonders since last week at Sonoma to come all the way across the country, prepare the car for a completely different track, and to give us a car that's compliant, it's fast, it's a joy to drive, and here he is. He's in with a chance to win this race. Simon Pagenaud, look for the blue car to pop out and make a move on Marco Andretti at turn 1.
Watch Justin Wilson, had a huge run. He pops as well.
Kanaan is third, Wilson fourth, and Marco Andretti for the time being hanging tough.
Yeah, he made that car pretty wide. If he was going to make Pagenaud try to get him on the outside, that was a good job defending your real estate there.
For the majority of the year, Marco Andretti has been the picture of consistency. Wilson goes around. Hinchcliffe involved in that. Rahal up. Can they get going, or is the track going to be blocked?
Well, there's a lane
like
up the middle.
Hinchcliffe's got his hands on his helmet, so he must be stalled, and we're going to probably get another full caution.
Another
got it in reverse. Whoa, Servia's. Oh, I hope Wilson knows he's there. Wilson's got it in reverse. He's backing the car up, so the engine must still be running. There he goes.
Carpenter can get going, and Hinchcliffe is the only one who needs help. I think in every track blockage, poor old Charlie Kimball has been the innocent victim and has had to weave his way through multiple cars blocking the racing line through there. So the GoDaddy machine of James Hinchcliffe is the only one stuck. This is how it all went down. The view from Graham Rahal.
Yeah, once you commit like that.
So that was Bourdais into the back of Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Graham Rahal trying to push Hinchcliffe out of the way. And here, as you said, Lee, here's Kimball. Wow. And you hear the revs go up. What he's trying to do is dump the clutch and throw the back of the car around. Watch Bourdais just barely gets Wilson, but certainly enough to spin him around.
I'll show you what it looked like from overhead. Watch for the fifth car in line. There's the tag right there.
Guys, we might be running out of front wings at some point here.
So Hinchcliffe gets going, but we are still under yellow and laps rapidly running out in the Grand Prix of Baltimore. Let's finish it off when we come back.
A man and his truck and a broken fence and a lost calf and the heart to search for as long as it takes, and the truck that lets him search for as long as it takes. The all-new Chevy Silverado, the most fuel-efficient V8 in a pickup, strong for all the roads ahead.
Your car may have been born in 1997, but give it a new set of Firestone tires, and it could feel like it's fresh off the lot. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
Golden Corral just made the weekend better than ever again. Our $12.99 premium prime rib and shrimp weekend is back. It's endless prime rib, our best jumbo butterfly shrimp, and our new bone-in catfish and catfish fillets. It's our premium prime rib and shrimp weekend only at Golden Corral.
Guess who's home early?
Hey, hon. Sit down. We'll make it a foursome.
September 3rd, grab your friends and go to hell. Diablo 3, coming to console September 3rd, rated M for mature.
I'm gonna put my pants back on.
Get exclusive items only on PlayStation 3.
Hey, this is Ted Lasso. I'm the new head coach for Tottenham Spurs. Yeah, I was wondering if I could speak to the Queen, please. Well, what I'm looking to do is we got a season coming up, and I'd love to invite the Queen down personally if she wants to come down and watch one of our games, kick out the first ball for us. That'd be a lot of fun. Also, we can get her in the gift shop and just give her 3 minutes to run around like crazy and put whatever she can into a set. Hello? Hello?
Premier League is on NBC and the NBC Sports Network.
This street course racing certainly provides plenty of action, and we're going to see a lot more of it as open wheel racing returns to Houston with the IZOD IndyCar Series Shell Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. Don't miss it. It's the last doubleheader of the year. That's Saturday, October 5, Sunday, October 6th. From the streets of Houston, you'll see it right here on NBC SN. Hey, Robin Miller, what are your thoughts on today?
My thoughts today, Lee, it's too bad we got a 4-week break because I think it's the Hatfields and McCoys. I really do think we could actually have fisticuffs if we had a race next weekend. Instead, we're reminded of Cleveland, Portland, Toronto, carnage here, carnage there. This is the kind of thing A.J. Foyt, Parnelli Jones couldn't imagine because they never had a street race. But I think Castroneves should, as soon as this race is over, he's back to 7th. He passed about 9 guys during the, here's the replay, during the yellow. And you can just see him creeping by everybody because that's what you have to do when you're back there and you're picking your way through the field.
Inside.
But I would say this, he should get on a plane right after this race and go right to Vegas.
Yeah.
That's where I'd be going. I might be going there anyway, though, Lee.
Well, I think the 2 best examples, Robin, of just hanging in there today, Aurelio Castroneves and race leader Marco Andretti.
Listen, I'm starting to think that I got a shot to win this thing by virtue of not crashing. I'm sitting in the booth.
Drama here. There's a little rub smoke there for James Hinchcliffe. Remember, he was stuck up against the wall.
And that was Graham. That was Graham who was trying to just force his way by.
He's on pit road to have that seen too. Boy, I don't think there's one driver who has not been involved in some kind of incident today, Jan.
Yes, he obviously found himself pinned up against the wall. And we saw from the onboard for Graham Rahal that Graham was trying to pull forward, just kind of kept trying to push him. He is restarted, hoping to salvage something, but obviously way back. They look to see if they can clear that bodywork. In fact, they do. They take off the whole pod section, but they still need 1 tire to change. Don't send them yet. Get that going. But certainly a rough day for the GoDaddy entry and James Hinchcliffe.
And it's a rough streak. Since he won Iowa, he has had some really frustrating results. We're ready to go racing again. It's restart time. Marco Andretti out in front. Did they wave that off?
They did, and they should. They should, because there's a restart cone, and he went well before that. And they're supposed to be side by side.
Of course they are, but he also knows he doesn't want to be side by side with
Well, yeah, but if that happens again, Wally, he's going to go to the back.
Yeah. And he got away with it the last time, too. That's what I was asking. I was like, wow, that was a pretty good restart for Marco.
And don't forget what happened at the last race at Sonoma. You had Roger Penske after the race in Marco's face.
Because he felt he was jumping the restarts.
That's right.
I think you may have inherited some of those Chief Stewart genes from your father, Wally.
No.
I don't know how you convince anybody to be a Chief Stewart after watching this race today. That is thankless work.
So they get another lap under caution, and they will repack and grid up. And as we do each and every round of the IZOD IndyCar Series, we remind you to take part in what is a fabulous opportunity. You could be leading the field to green inside the IZOD 2-seater. Today it was Alan Zassini who was driving it. Normally it is Mario Andretti.
9 laps remaining.
Or Ari Lyondike. And all you got to do is go to shophonda.com for your chance to lead the field to green. It's Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Well worthwhile. All right, we're ready to go racing. Let's finish this thing off. Let's pack up. Let's race hard. Let's race fast and clean and make it an exciting run to the end. Keep in mind, Marco Andretti has not won a race this year, and for the majority of the season has been a championship contender. He's fallen off over past, say, 3 or 4 rounds, but now with his teammate Ryan Hunter-Ray out of the race, Scott Dixon out of the race, Marco has a wonderful opportunity to leapfrog some positions and put himself back in the fight with still 3 races remaining.
Now they want the first 3 or 4 rows to at least get side by side before you take off.
Right, Pagenaud draws alongside. They're going to wave the green this time anyway. Marco Andretti and Simon Pagenaud. Kanaan is the next car in. Look at this. Wow. Pagenaud, is he going to go for it? No, he can't. Marco Andretti deep on the brakes.
Well, I don't know if that was going to be sufficient on the restart. Marco just flat went again. He might have waited a second longer, but boy, they, like you said, Wally, they won 4 rows. Let's see what happens here going into turn 3.
Bourdais is back there in 4th. Newgarden is 5th.
Here comes Graham.
Oh, Ray Hall on the inside. Good. Everything's clean there. Castroneves stayed wide. Kimball was right behind him. The run to home, 9 laps to go on the streets of Baltimore to conclude what has been a crazy 16th round of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Andretti, Pagenaud, Kanaan, Bourdais, Newgarden. That's how they run.
I'm just shocked at the front grip that Marco's getting out of his car. Pagenaud looks really, really strong right there. He is coming. Yeah, and it could happen here.
And this is the section you were talking about, TB. I mean, it's going to be hard to get through this section without losing a lot of front grip.
Yeah, but look at him do it. It's amazing.
And look where he's,
Who's going to lose patience first? That's the question. As the laps count down into the chicane at full speed this time. Here we go.
Now Marco,
Simon Pagenaud have a run on Marco.
Marco got through there pretty conservatively, and let's see. Simon's got a run, and he is not on the button.
The Indy 500 winner runs third. Bourdais is fourth. Newgarden still in fifth. And then in sixth is Graham Rahal. Simona is in there swamping and fighting it out with Helio Castroneves and Kimball as well.
Now Pagenaud, whoa, look at these guys side by side. That is tough to go through there.
That's good racing, though. Down on the inside. Yep.
Whoa.
Going to take that spot from Tony Kanaan.
That was a dive bomb of all dive bombs.
That Newgarden sitting there in fifth spot.
Newgarden's in there, right ahead of Graham Rahal, Simona, Castroneves, Wilson, Kimball, and Saavedra. But look at that chrome and red car for Dragon Racing. There it is right there. Sebastian Bourdais is on a mission.
Now, Pagenaud had been pretty patient there, but he's got to be careful because the pace Marco's running, this whole field's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got Bourdais in your mirror. He's probably not real happy from getting tossed around earlier a few laps ago. So Pagenaud's going to have to get aggressive, or he's going to have to start being defensive on Bourdais.
Not that long ago, Sebastian Bourdais gave Jay Penske and Dragon Racing their first podium finishes in Eyes on IndyCar Series racing. Could the Frenchman give them their first victory here on the streets of Baltimore?
Pagenaud's going to have to make something happen, or he's going to have Bourdais right next to him.
Pagenaud is out of push to passes.
Here we go, the run down to turn one. This is where Bourdais could have a chance.
I think Pagenaud's got to go here.
Yep. Got to do it.
Inside, this is for the lead. They lock it up.
And he ain't going to do it.
Oh, yes, he is.
He does.
Oh, no, he's not.
Alongside him. Andretti fights Pagenaud. They're side by side.
That was an unbelievable move on Pagenaud.
And Bourdais goes for it. Bourdais on the outside of Andretti down to the hairpin. It's the long way around. Marco is fighting hard, but Pagenaud won that one.
And further back, I think that's Graham Rahal into the fence.
He gets going again. He
a little contact there with Kanaan.
And Simona gets her teammate, Tony Kanaan. Now Wilson wants the shot at the Indy 500 winner. Bourdais on Andretti. He gets it done this time. Frenchman up to second. We've got two French drivers, first and second.
And two Americans going at it, and one very fast American in Joseph Newgarden, who is all over Marco. Look at this.
What happened here?
Oh!
Wow, this is...
Oh!
No! He hangs on to it. Bourdais hangs on to it, and Andretti sweeps around the outside, and here comes Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden is up to third.
This is awesome.
Starting to get a little bit physical here.
Everybody wants a race win. Pagenaud's got his nose in front.
I wonder what happened to Pagenaud there, because obviously Bourdais was right next to him. He must have slipped getting off that last corner.
Now here comes Newgarden. He's the fastest guy through this chicane. I think he's going to get Marco easily if he gets through this chicane cleanly, and he does. He's going to have a huge run. Marco gets loose at the exit.
Newgarden should get second. He pulls out of the line here. Inside run down to turn one. The 22-year-old Joseph Newgarden. Does he outbrake Marco Andretti? Wilson, they're all on the brakes. Newgarden takes second.
And Newgarden's got those push to passes, and that may be the difference.
What a finish. For a scrappy race, we are seeing an awesome finish.
That was Simona almost putting TK, her teammate, Kanaan, into the wall.
Look at Pagenaud. He has run away.
Oh, no.
Pagenaud has run away.
I was watching Hinchcliffe dive bomb. This is just a race of dive bombs.
Let's see if Joseph Newgarden can reel in that 2-second advantage that Simon Pagenaud has.
Let's be smart. You got 4 left.
Well, these are the two guys that when we watched warm-up today, we said these are the two fastest cars on used tires, especially blacks, Pagenaud and Newgarden, and it'll be a battle to the finish. But look at the lead Pagenaud's pulled out.
And I'll tell you what, the way Pagenaud drove that car in and make that pass, Newgarden's got his work cut out for him, unless he can get him on the push to pass.
Joseph Newgarden has never had an IndyCar Series podium. There's first, there's second, Pagenaud, Newgarden, Bourdais, Wilson, Andretti.
And Wilson's gotten around Marco.
Kanaan's not done with yet. He wants to fight Simona Di Silvestro, his teammate, who's celebrating her 25th birthday today. Simona running strong at the end of this one. Right, it was 2 seconds.
Newgarden. He's catching you about half a second a lap.
He certainly is. It's down to 1.4 seconds. That was the voice of Rob Edwards. Newgarden is starting to reel him in. Inside move from Simona Di Silvestro on Marco Andretti.
Fantastic move. Now, don't forget, in Brazil, Newgarden, so strong, ended up with the incident with Sato, ended up finishing back down the order. I think it was 5th, wasn't it, Lee?
He's had 2 5th places this year, Brazil and in Pocono. Look at the inside here. Was that Castroneves is fighting tough on Charlie Kimball. Kimball's going to have the inside for the next corner, though, on the points leader.
This is just a repeat for Castroneves from last week, and he's just got kamikazes all around him, and he just needs to finish and get the points.
We're getting progressive splits. It's down to 1.2 seconds. Pagenaud over the second place Newgarden.
Well, Marco's really locking up those front tires now under braking.
7 and 77. That's Bourdais and Pagenaud were under review from race control. They've been cleared. No action taken. 4.5 laps to go here in Baltimore. What a finish we're setting up for. Newgarden is catching him all the time.
He is coming. Looking at the lap times, Rob Edwards told Pagenaud half a second. It's more like 6.5 tenths right now. Let's see what the lap times are as they cross the lines. That gap is gone.
22-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee, Joseph Newgarden is chasing down the Frenchman Pagenaud.
And look at push to pass.
That's the key right there, Townsend.
Now 4 laps to go, so Sarah Fisher Racing needs to be on the radio to Newgarden, coaching him on when to use those push to passes. You don't want to end the race with money in the bank.
Kevin, this could be the day Joseph Newgarden and Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing have been waiting a long time for.
And the goal going into the day was clearly podium. It wasn't just to get a good finish and have a clean race and a good run. You guys talked about Brazil. Remember listening to the radio there when they were talking about a clean race? Bring it home. Not the case here today. We've already had a couple of 5th place finishes. We're ready for a podium, and they're still telling me, attack, use your push to passes, go get them.
I'd also be telling them Pagenaud's right front wing is a little bit damaged, just to give you a little bit more incentive if I'm Newgarden.
Well, remember, Newgarden earlier in the race, we thought he had a strong car, but he burned up his tires trying to get around Wilson. Hopefully, he's going to make some adjustment here. You see him running wide there. He lost quite a bit of time in that turn 9.
Yep.
Now, he's not on his push to pass button. There's still 4 laps to go. This will be 3 laps to go. You're going to have to think that he's going to start using the button each lap.
Start using it, and that margin's gone back up to 1.7.
But you got to save 1.
Yeah.
You got to save 1 for the pass.
2.2 seconds it's blown out to. Now comes back to about 1.9 as Joseph Newgarden left his run a little too late.
And further back, the madness continues as Marco is stacking up the field.
Oh, yeah. We could possibly have a caution the way this looks before this race is over.
3 laps left for the Grand Prix of Baltimore. Big inside moves here. What an overtaking opportunity that is. It's Saavedra. Hinchcliffe's in the mix. And Marco Andretti.
I'll tell you, Hinchcliffe has been making some dive bombs today.
Yeah.
Oh, Marco's locking up.
Another one.
Hinch. And Vautier's almost running out of road, getting in the back of Marco Andretti.
Championship points leader Helio Castroneves has dropped to 11th place, but it's still valuable championship points that will grow his lead over Scott Dixon. Meanwhile, up front, Simon Pagenaud has blown out his lead to 2.8 seconds over Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a real hard time reeling him in at this point, guys.
Well, I think he tried. I think he pushed super hard, and you could see his tires going away, and he thought, you know what? If it's not there, I'm going to take my first podium.
And it means so much for Wink Hartman, who has put so much into this team with Sarah Fisher. They needed a result like this to put them on the map.
I'm not sure he's just wanting to take that podium.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be careful because Sebastian Bourdais is coming. And Sebastian's only about a second back, so he can't throttle back too much.
A Frenchman and an American and another Frenchman fill the top 3 places. Right now, Joseph Newgarden finds himself in the middle of 2 of the most diverse drivers in the world. Whether it's open-top cars, whether it's sports cars, whether it's V8 supercars, the guys front and behind him are amazing drivers on a global level. This 22-year-old American is in fine company right now.
He's in fine company, but he is not in friendly company. Sebastian Bourdais has really closed that gap. There's going to be one chance here for Bourdais to have a run. And it could come on the front straightaway after the chicane.
Yeah, I think Newgarden will make his car wide enough to make it. If Bourdais gonna pass him, he needs to force him on the outside to pass. Don't leave the bottom line open.
Coming to the white flag. on a weekend where a couple of weeks after his birthday, the Schmidt-Hamilton-Schmidt-Peterson team presented Sam Schmidt with a birthday cake after he celebrated his birthday on August 15th. They could be popping the champagne instead of having birthday cake a little later on with one more lap to go. 2 miles separating Simon Pagenaud from his second win of this championship, his second win this year, and his second win in his IZOD IndyCar Series career. Oh, Tony Kanaan in the wall. The Indy 500 winner's day is done on the final lap of the race.
And he was really struggling to just keep the thing on track. I mean, the tires were well used up.
More outside of turn 12. I think he'll stay local outside of 12.
If you believe in the links of what drivers do throughout the year, throughout their careers, the last time Simon Pagenaud was in the Firestone Fast 6, he went on to win the race. That was Detroit doubleheader, Detroit 2. This weekend, he was in the Firestone Fast 6, and here he is. He's headed towards the top step of the podium.
And let's make sure that he gets through here cleanly, because Kanaan's here at the exit somewhere.
Cautious driving. He gets through that area. Coming up to the chicane for the final time, the 29-year-old Frenchman, Simon Pagenaud, sees the checkered flag and wins the Baltimore Grand Prix. That was a huge victory, and Joseph Newgarden gets his very first career podium.
Another great race for Justin Wilson.
Wilson again, Bourdais on the podium, Newgarden his very first career podium. And Pagenaud, a two-time winner. Jan?
And obviously, great celebration down here at the Simon Pagenaud pit. And Rob Edwards, today was a day I don't know how to describe, but it was one of perseverance.
Yeah, it was perseverance, and you know, we had to make some risks in the pits, chose some tricky calls, and we did, and it played out for us today. You know, we asked a lot of Simon today. He just did a fantastic job, and you know, really happy for the crew, happy for Simon. Just a great day.
As you can see in the background, what an emotional day for this team, and fantastic run for Simon Pagenaud. Kevin?
Sarah Fisher's team has won before. They won with Ed Carpenter back at Kentucky a couple of years ago, but this is by far the best result with young Joseph Newgarden, your husband. Andy O'Gara told me before the race, we're ready for a podium, and we think we can do it today. You guys did it.
You know, the guys just worked so hard, and they've all kept their heads down, and, you know, they've really just kept trying and working hard. And, you know, Wink and Libba have put so much into this team, you know, with the whole Hartman family, and Joseph just did an excellent job staying in the game today and just did a great job. The guys, they all just work hard. I'm just so proud of all of them.
He took up some contact like everybody did today. What are you thinking watching this race as a car owner, just an observer?
It's pretty wild. So, you know, I'm just glad we made it to the end.
Nice job. Enjoy. Sarah Fisher, Hartman Racing with a second-place finish today, and Joseph Newgarden.
Just a phenomenal day. So many great storylines, wild action, so many stories to follow up on. But it's Simon Pagenaud's day. Simon Pagenaud for the Schmidt-Hamilton HP Racing Team, his second career win. He won the Sunoco Rookie of the Year title last year and was frustrated that he did that without a victory. He had plenty of podiums, but none on the top step. He broke that this year by standing on the top step of the podium in Detroit's second race. And now he has proven that is no fluke by winning in Baltimore. 3 different winners in the 3 years in this amazing race in the downtown streets here in Maryland. And to win that one, you had to be smart, you had to be fast, you had to have a little luck on your side, you had to try and keep your nose clean. Not too sure how many cars are undamaged after that one. It was wild.
And let's not forget how hot it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so humid, so hot. And look at, he looks amazing. He's in good shape.
Here he is, our race winner, Simon Pagenaud.
And I'm looking over his car as Simon Pagenaud takes the congratulations from the team, and there's all kinds of battle marks all over this car. Simon, you said before this race ever started,
good job, brother. Good job.
You went on public record saying this is your favorite racetrack, and your team gave you a great car, but today was it not all about perseverance and keeping this thing in one piece?
Well, that was a wild day, wasn't it? Jeez. Yeah, the car was fantastic, as you could see on the first stint.
struggled a little bit with pickup, so in the middle section there, but we got very lucky on one restart. We didn't get collected, and man, I pushed hard on the last restart there to get Marco and TK. Awesome job for HP. The HP team's been awesome this weekend, and I guess it's good for the championship.
It's great for the championship for Simon Pagenaud. Now tell me also, there were times today when it looked like it was all going the wrong way, getting stuck in traffic, track being blocked. How do you just keep pushing and then all of a sudden these things start falling your way?
Yeah, you know, in racing you got to be a bit of luck. You're going to have some luck, and I had some today, to be honest. You know, I thought it was over at some point, but you know, I always keep pushing. You never know, there might be an opportunity, and we had it, so I grabbed it.
One incident I need to ask you about right near the end. Bourdais comes up. It's right here behind us on the pit straightaway. He gets alongside you on the pit straightaway. Did you have a bobble or something that got him in that spot? Because you were wheel to wheel through that corner.
Yeah, I got wide in that last corner. There was a lot of pickup. I exited the corner sideways. I never thought he was going to come that way. So, you know, I took the usual line, and he was there. So I tried to get out. As soon as we touched, tried to get out of it, but it was enough to pinch him. I'm sorry about that. But it is what it is, I guess.
Hey, great day for Simon Pagenaud.
Certainly was, and that does so much. He mentioned it, but it does so much for his championship chances. We'll confirm it later, but we think that moves the Frenchman into third place in the IZOD IndyCar Series standings, and it means so much to Rob Edwards and the team. And how about Sarah Fisher? Great day for her. You're watching IndyCar on NBC-SN. Brought to you by SRT, Street and Racing Technology. Wonderful afternoon here in Baltimore. Time to check in with Kevin Lees with a very happy young man.
Certainly, runner-up, best finish. Fifth was his best finish before Joseph Newgarden, one of many that had an eventful day. You're running up high early, then you went a little bit wide, lost some spots, battled at the end. Let's talk about that last restart from fifth to second.
Well, first off, thanks to everyone at Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. I mean, they give me every opportunity to do this. You know, I wouldn't be an IndyCar driver without them, so I'm so thankful to this whole group and all the hard work that's been put in. Happy to give him the second place. I really wanted to give Simon a run for his money there. I think we had the pace for him. We had no brakes left. As soon as I put a little charge in him to start with there, the pedal went to the floor. I know a lot of guys have been struggling with brake issues. It's so hot around here in Baltimore. I mean, drivers are hot, cars are hot. So I just had to try and cool him off. I almost threw the thing into the wall at turn one because the pedal just went to the floor. And, you know, I think if we just didn't have problems with the heating issue, I think we could have given him a run for his money, which would have been great. But, you know, second's a great result for our team.
How much did you need that? What's it do for everybody moving forward?
Well, it's definitely big. I mean, it's our best starting spot this year in fifth. I think that helps out. But we got shuffled back in the end. We had an issue with our first set of tires somewhere mid-through. I think we had a great start to the race, but then had a horrible second part of that first stint. And we're looking in trouble for a little bit. And then we got caught up in an incident, and we got shuffled back. But then we shuffled forward with another incident. So I think we had our luck for sure during the race. We had our bad luck as well. But it kind of evened out, I think, at the end and gave us a great result. So it's huge for our team. We needed this. We need to do this for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he worked his way all the way back from somewhere at 13th, 14th, 15th, and finishes on the podium as the runner-up. Marty?
Well, Kevin, what a yo-yo day for Sébastien Bourdais. Back to the front, to the front, to the back, and you got back to the front at the very end. But I've got to ask you, your fellow countryman, the move by Simon Pagenaud, was it a fair move to get the lead? We've already seen the replay once.
I'll let people judge it. I have my own opinion.
What's your opinion?
We're friends, but, you know, it's there's no friends on the racetrack, and I've learned that the hard way today.
And what was your take of it as it happened? Here we see the replay.
Well, I think it's pretty clear, right?
It took you out. How did you make it back to the front so many times this afternoon?
We had a fast car. We had a fast car from the FP3 to the end of that race. That car got beat up pretty good, so by the end it was pretty ragged. But, you know, I'm just really happy for the guys. You know, yeah, it would have been awesome to win. And, you know, in so many ways, I guess we probably should have or would have. But, you know, it's a podium, another one, and it's really important for the group, for the spirits, for Jay, for the sponsors, McAfee, TrueCar, Variety, and you know, I'm still really happy. When you start nearly dead last and you make it to the podium, pass a bunch of people and make it stick at the end, it's pretty sweet.
It also was eventful for you post-race, a very heated discussion with Justin Wilson. What was that about?
No, he was pissed. Obviously, I just touched him at the hairpin, but in the meantime, I told him, I said, look at the replay, because the only reason why I touched you is because James dive bombs me on the inside, and then all of a sudden I see his car, and I just looked at his front tires, like right here, and by the time I put my eyes back on Justin's car, I just barely touched him, and that broke the very tip of the front wing. But I mean, it was definitely just bad circumstances. I feel bad for him, but I got turned around as well today, so I think everybody got his share of incidents and getting run into people.
Let's hear the other side of this with Jan Beekes. Jan?
Yes, and of course that would be Justin Wilson. We're just speaking with Sebastian Bourdais, who said you had words afterwards from contact between the two. How did you see it?
I was having a look at, I think it was Tony Kanaan. He went the inside, so I went to the outside, do the over-under. And as we got to the apex, someone stuck their nose in and just tapped me around. So, yeah, I mean, just that bit of front wing from Bourdais just spun me around, completely. What else can you say? It wasn't because there was a car on the inside of him. He just tried to come off the brake pedal too early and hit me. And for me, that's avoidable contact and should be penalised. Speaking of the brake pedal, very early in the race, you were calling in saying you had a long pedal, and this was a long day. How tough was it without brakes? It was pretty tough. About 4 or 5 laps in, I lost the rear brakes completely and was just trying to back it off and try and brake earlier, lighter, wiring front bias in, let the rears cool down. And it would come back under yellow. There's long periods of yellow. They would come back and the pedal would get a little bit harder. But then, even 5-6 laps from the end, we start to push again and got past Marco. And the last 4 laps, the pedal's just on the floor. So, he's just trying to nurse it home. But just pleased to get a 4th place result out of this. It's just an absolute crazy race. And it's good for the Boy Scouts of America. They've got a big following here in Baltimore. So pleased for them. And let's move on to the next one. Keep collecting points. Thank you, Justin. And imagine all that battling today without all your brakes. Lee?
And Jan, he continues to climb the championship ladder with that 4th place combined with his 2nd from last week. When we come back, we'll hear from someone who got a top 5 finish for the first time in 2.5 years. Know that some of you may have been turning on to catch the Firestone Indy Lights race from Baltimore. That's going to come on right at the bottom of the hour. Good to see some people still hanging around. If you have ever contemplated coming to this race, there's a wonderful atmosphere. Of course, there's landmark street races like Long Beach, etc. But put Baltimore on your to-do list because it's a wonderful party-like atmosphere in downtown Baltimore. All right, there's been plenty of personal bests. Let's speak with somebody who should be delighted with her result today on her birthday, Kevin.
That's right. Happy birthday to Simone Di Silvestro. Season best 5th place finish starting all the way back in 17th. Congratulations. Really good run today.
Yeah, for sure. I think we recovered pretty well. We struggled a bit this weekend with speed, and I think we kind of figured it out for the race and, had some pretty good pace. The tires didn't go off so much on our car, so that really helped us. And it was pretty crazy out there, I thought, but really happy with the ending of it.
No, we all agree. It was definitely crazy, and it's going to take us a while to dissect all of this one. Everybody's mad at everybody else, and we even saw you racing with your teammate, Tony Kanaan, there a little bit. Tell us what you saw from your vantage points.
Yeah, I think he kind of made a mistake a little bit in the hairpin trying to overtake somebody, and then he kind of, I don't know what he was really thinking there, just kind of, trying to, I don't know what he was thinking. So, not quite sure what that was the right call, especially between teammates. You always kind of try to help each other out. But, it is what it is, and it went our way, and, I'm looking forward to the next races, and, it's good to get that momentum back.
Good run. 5th place for Simone Di Silvestro on her birthday. Marty?
Well, Kevin, kind of the turning point of the race, certainly when Will Power and Scott Dixon got together. Walk me through what you knew of the incident. We played the radio where you were kind of saying, I thought I lost it on my own, but Scott Dixon felt it was intentional on your behalf.
Well, I mean, obviously when Tim said Dixon was there, I got to run on Bourdais. I've got to run on him. I'm looking at him, and, I'm pulling out to pass him, and then I'm in the wall. And I thought I just lost it. I thought I must have lost on cold tires or a bump. I didn't know what happened, and then...
Here's a replay. Actually, here's a bunch of replays. You can see you making the move.
Yeah, it's all bad. I mean, man, I had no clue he was there, and I feel terrible for him. That just to kind of ruin 2 days there, two drivers' days. I mean, it's just not good.
It was just an instant reaction from you to make the move on Bourdais?
Well, I was just looking at Bourdais' back. I got a good run on him. I was going to go up his inside, and Dixon obviously had the same run on me, and I just feel bad, man. Had I looked in my mirror, I just I don't know, I just didn't even think to look in my mirror. I thought I got such a good run on this guy. I was focused on him to pull out. I just feel bad for him. I know he was in the championship hunt, and man, just a bad thing to have happened, honestly.
Well, after the meeting this morning with Derek Walker, and you watch another replay right here, and you clearly knew that you were trying to play by the rules and trying to play fairly today, not intentional, as you say, on your behalf. How do you move forward then with Scott?
Yeah, I mean, man, I was just trying to win the race, trying to beat Bourdais, because we knew that he wasn't going to be able to stop, so try to get in front of him and gap him, man, I can't say anything, but I'm just so sorry to Scott. Like, he's not going to want to talk to me, but man, absolutely not intentional. I didn't know he was there, and just a very, very bad situation.
When you and I talked before Sonoma, you said Sonoma, Baltimore are two best chances to win the rest of the year. Can you describe the level of disappointment, because you might have had the car to beat today?
Yeah, we had a great car. I mean, we had a good car, and I just think they got to change the rule on these double file restarts. It's just ridiculous that you can get runs on people, and NASCAR does it right. And I just don't think we can do double file restarts on street courses.
Should it be done away with, period?
I just think they should be done away with on street courses. It just doesn't work out at tracks like this and Long Beach. I mean, yellow after yellow after yellow. I mean, do people want to watch racing under yellow? We've got to have a good think about how they do that.
Well, Lee, we certainly saw some exciting racing today, and some good points brought up by Will Power.
And speaking of points, Marty, championship implications. Let's have a look at how today affected the overall. Scott Dixon remains in second. However, he loses another 11 points to Helio Castroneves, and we've got a new man in third place, Simon Pagenaud. Leapfrogs Marco Andretti into third place, and look at where Ryan Hunter-Ray falls to, from third to fifth. Wow, there he is. He likes to look at that, Jan.
Yes, because we have a monitor here. You just saw those point standings, and for a day where you were stopped twice, had contact in the pits, received a penalty, you actually picked up major points.
Unbelievable. I want to first of all, I want to apologize to Doug. I mean, this has never happened to me. It's the first time ever in my career. I don't know what the heck. Probably was a lot of debris, and I was actually slow, but unfortunately, if you see the way it's bumpy here. Anyway, I'm so glad he was okay. I was very concerned. But in the end of the day, if you guys would ask me, I would have finished top 10. After the first lap, I'm like, I'll take it. Give it to me. And unbelievable. I mean, I just want to thank first the sponsors, obviously, PPG and Verizon and Pennzoil, Shell Pennzoil, AAA, everyone. I'm really, really thank you for your support. And I want to thank the guy upstairs because he is looking after me. And well, I'm still dreaming really, really big. We still have 3 races to go. A lot of points in the game. We're just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Your driving style that you had, finding yourself a little bit like we had in Sonoma, getting knocked around like a ping pong ball, do you think you're putting yourself in those positions? Do you think you should attack more to stay ahead, or by laying back, are you now a victim of people just slamming you around?
Well, good question. Would I end up with that like my other competitors if I would attack, or do I take what I get? I would take what I get, since it's no brain. 3 of the main competitors are out.
And a little mic trouble there with Jan and Helio's interview. Nonetheless, he is delighted with that now 49-point championship lead with only 3 races to go. The doubleheader in Houston and then the championship finale in Fontana. We're not done here in Baltimore. Stay with us. More interviews and more insight when we come back.
Back in Baltimore, where Simon Pagenaud has won for the first time, and the podium celebration is going on. One of the great locations for the podium celebration because the fans are there to witness it. And one of the guys that's been on the podium many times this year, a 3-time winner, is James Hinchcliffe, who ultimately finishes 7th. Another eventful day for you. Everybody's mad at everybody. How many are mad at you and vice versa?
Well, I'm not going to out myself. If nobody said anything, then I think I'm clear. But, man, what an eventful race. It was catastrophe. I mean, it was chaos out there. And, you know, those restarts, obviously, we got caught up in a couple of those. I was stopped dead on track twice. Had to be restarted twice and still ended up with a P7. So I just got to thank the GoDaddy guys, you know, to be we're a never give up kind of team, and we showed that today. So it's a rough day. Never would have thought we'd be 7th, you know, halfway through this thing, but we'll take it and move on to the next one.
All right, good run. We'll see you next month.
Yeah, James Hinchcliffe really in the thick of it today, wasn't he? What we want to do is take you back to about 7 laps to go and just watch some of the mayhem that unfolds. This is Pagenaud for the lead on Marco Andretti.
That move that Pagenaud made, he ran that thing in deeper than anybody at all week. That was incredible.
Great side-by-side action here. You look at Bourdais shooting up the outside of Marco. Marco's had a damaged wing. He's trying to fight him off, just holding on.
Kanaan went on the inside and put Rahal into the wall there. Graham ricocheted. Meanwhile, Simona Di Silvestre had made the most of it and got past her Indy 500 winning teammate, and then she set sail for Joseph Newgarden, and Wilson wasn't done with.
Justin Wilson sticking his nose up inside there. Bourdais gets around Marco. Now all of a sudden, Pagenaud and Bourdais are going at it. Newgarden is right up the tail, and watch this. Bourdais thought this was cut and dry, but that is an awfully, awfully high-risk pass to try to make on the outside. I didn't think that was cut and dry at all.
What would you have done? Just pulled behind him and just followed him through?
No, but if I was Bourdais, I would think I would have backed out.
But it was a wonderful way to finish the day after a lot of frustration through multiple cautions, 6 in total. We almost equaled last week's record of 7. That was a record for Sonoma, of course. Beautiful sight. It's been a wonderful weekend, and we will wrap things up when we come back to Baltimore. Exciting times in the championship because we are far from done. If you want to see some more street fights, well, in a month's time, the Grand Prix of Houston, it's the final double-header of the year, the 5th and 6th of October, and then we wrap things up in the traditional format of Auto Club Speedway Fontana in California on October 19th. So a busy month to wrap things up. It's time for people to draw a breath, catch a breath, have a little bit of a break in between as we take a look at the results and what a very different looking podium. 2 Frenchmen and an American, Pagenaud, Newgarden, Bourdais, wonderful stuff there. Simona Di Silvestre behind Wilson to get a top 5. And then Sebastian Saavedra with a personal best in a long time. Championship leader Helio Castro-Neves hanging on in 9th place. Before we say farewell, I want to thank our crew on the production side of things who have had a very busy time to come all the way from Sonoma to Baltimore and put this show together on an extremely hot and humid day. We say thank you, crew. Wally, final thoughts?
I can't wait to Houston. I mean, this has been such a great year in IndyCar racing with all these different people getting podiums and stuff. It's been fantastic.
Townsend?
Well, for me, it's great to see all the drama, all the battles, all the dive bombs. I think it's because we've got 10 different winners this year. You've got a guy that'll always be in 10th place that says, I need to win. I'm going for it.
I want to be that 11th winner. Exactly. Well, another reminder, don't go anywhere because the Firestone Indy Lights race is coming up next. The IZOD IndyCar Series continues. As I mentioned, those 2 races on the streets of Houston, and that's Saturday, October 5th at 3 o'clock Eastern, so that's in a month's time. What a dramatic day in the series. To find out all the information and all the more, go to NBCSports.com. Congratulations to Simon Pagenaud, and thank you for watching the IZOD IndyCar Series on your home of open wheel racing. We'll see you from Houston.